Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, you know? Just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. I had, for years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hi, I'm Ashley Flowers, and if you're like me and grew up watching America's Most Wanted and reading Nancy Drew, then hi, you're a crime junkie. And I bet that passion for solving mysteries never went away, which is why we've assembled a team of reporters to dig deep into all the cases we still obsess over. Each Monday, my best friend Britt and I will bring you a case that you won't be able to stop thinking and talking about. So join us by listening to Crime Junkie wherever you listen to podcasts.
This week, in Pavillion, Wyoming, deep, dark secrets are kept in the vast landscape, hiding a couple's evil deeds for years until all the terrible details finally come to light. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another crazy and man is it nuts edition of Small Town Murder. They get crazier every week, and I don't know what to say. They're doing the world is doing this. It's not us. We'll just say that. We're just finding them. Sorry about that. Very quickly before we start, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets starting. If you're listening to this when it comes out normally and not a week early on the subscription thing, then it is in a couple of days. Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, boy.
Kicking off the 2023 tour. Oh, baby. Still tickets left for Cleveland. Get them right now. I don't know if they'll be left by next week, but when it's coming out. But who knows? Tickets there. We're also in St. Louis, but that's sold out. Also, extra shows added in Seattle and Portland. And make sure Detroit, too, get your tickets there. And Pittsburgh is getting close to sold out, so definitely get those tickets there. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Head over to patreon.com/crime and sports if you want more material. That's where you get it all. Anybody $5 a month or above, you're going to get a ton of stuff, including the whole back catalog, over 150 episodes of bonus material that you're not going to get anywhere else. And on top of that, every other week, you are going to get 2 new episodes, one crime and sports, one small town murder.
Oh, you bet.
You get access to it all. This week is no different. For crime and sports, you're going to get the 10-cent beer night deal here, which there was a nickel beer night before that, which is even more dangerous. Unlimited nickel beers, which is scary.
That's insane.
But this was 10-cent beer night, and it ended in a riot with things on fire, of course, and fans attacking the players on the field. It's good shit. I can't wait to tell you about it. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about something really cool, small town scams.
Yeah.
These old towns, these guys would make pamphlets and send them back east and say, oh, beautiful thing, and, gardens and farms, and it's going to be great. And then you'd get there, and it was just a sandy hole, and some guy was like on his yacht with a cigar and your money, with a cigar made of your money, drifting away.
The cigar is on a trailer going away because there's no fucking water here.
None at all. So that's patreon.com/crime and sports. Get in there. So much fun. And you get a shout out at the end of the show where Jimmie's going to screw up your name terribly while he wants to get it correct. So that'll be fun stuff. Very quickly here, the disclaimer.
Yeah.
This is a comedy show. We're comedians. Terrible murders are going to happen. And the thing that people get most angry at us for, honestly, isn't even the murder part, which is the weird thing. That's how good we are, I think, at going around that. And because what we do is we don't make fun of the victims or the victims' families because we're assholes.
All right,
but we're not scumbags. That's how that works. So we cover that pretty well. But people get very angry at the town stuff.
What do you want from us?
We make fun of where we're from the worst. Yeah. It's a roast. It's not and like the reviews, we didn't write those. Other people just reading them. So history, we're just reading it, what happened, and then talking about it a little bit, making some jokes because we're comics. Relax about the township.
We might take some fucking assumptions here and there, but what are you going to do?
We're all from a terrible place. We're making jokes about it. Chill out. Have fun with it. There you go. So that said, that sounds good to you. We're going to have a great time. If you think true crime and comedy should never, ever, ever go together, maybe we're not for each other. Who knows? Maybe it's a bad date and we say goodbye and, we're happy we didn't put 3-4 years into this relationship. But for everybody else, I think it's time to sit back. Let's clear the lungs. I don't care where you are, honestly. I really don't. We talked about a colonoscopy. Pop out of the dentist chair with the sucky thing in your mouth and shout, "Shut up!" and get me murder. There you go. Let's do it, everybody. Let's go on a trip, shall we?
He says he wants a burger. Get him a burger.
He wants to shut up and give me a burger. I think get this man a burger. He's clearly starving. That said, let's go on a trip, Jimmie. What do you say?
Let's go.
We are going to go to somewhere we do not visit very often. We've only been there 3 times in the history of the show.
Holy shit.
So a while here. We're going to Wyoming. Wide open there. Yes, because there's not a lot of people there, and then there's a lot of open space, so the few people that are there kill each other less because, you have to find somebody first to be able to kill them, right?
Yeah.
You have to know where they are.
Possibly the best license plate in the country, though.
Oh, that's a cool license plate. It's their college football team's helmet. That's all it is.
Right.
With that fucking
I don't
Bronco.
Know if they still,
I don't know either.
They still have it. Probably not. Everybody's changed their bullshit.
Yeah, you got to change it up.
It used to be cool as shit.
Yeah, it used to be damn cool. This is Pavillion, Wyoming.
Okay.
Pavillion, like a pavilion. It's in central Wyoming, right there in the middle. It's far from most everything. 4 hours and 45 minutes to Cheyenne.
Right in the mountains.
And there is nothing there. That is some wide open country. 2 hours and about 2.5 hours to Jackson Hole. Do some skiing and that sort of thing. And 5 hours. Yeah, and be a general rich douche. Go up there. Mingle, rub elbows with other douches. You know how it goes.
Sit on a saddle bar stool and drink your
$13
beer.
Yeah, douches, retired politicians, Euro douches, things of that nature.
Cowboys, those people.
Fake cowboys. And it's about 5 hours to Hillsdale, which was our last Wyoming episode, which was episode 291, Nicknames of Death. So it's been a while. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is in Fremont County, area code 307. History of this place, just a little bit here. This was this area had one of the last big land rushes of the West in 1906, August 15th, 1906. A little late for that, for free land. A Denver newspaper said, quote, "Not since the Oklahoma rush has there been so much interest manifested in the opening of a reservation."
Yeah.
Which is a weird way to say this land we just took. So nearly 10,000 people showed up, which is like half of the current population of Wyoming, I believe.
Yeah, that seems like a whole lot of people.
That's a shitload of people to show up in the middle of nowhere. They all, lined up and waited for everything, and they claimed all the plots and everything like that. Land was sold at $1.50 an acre in the first 2 years after this opening, then $1.25 per acre. Okay. And then anything that remained unsold after 5 years was auctioned off to the public at $1 an acre.
What is that today's money? $1 in 1908?
I mean, it might be $50.
Maybe? Yeah.
$50, $60 an acre. Then
that's
it would
awesome.
That's crazy. So finally, then after 8 years, the Secretary of the Interior could sell any lands to the highest bidder. So this was the land nobody wanted, obviously. But then railroads came, so people would speculate and buy land, hoping the railroad would come through there. Blazing saddle situations, basically, how it goes there. And they also have a problem with water quality nowadays.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. In 2008, people 5 miles northeast of Pavillion complained of discolored water, which that's not great, foul smells, and then illnesses they suspected was due to water quality. And so in 2010, they had a big investigation into the whole thing, and the EPA. Okay. It was an environmental issue.
They didn't do the environmental issue. Who did that?
Oh, that's fracking. Fracking did that. Yeah, it was underground. They said that it affected.
Isn't it crazy? That big corporations might go out in the middle of nowhere where nobody's looking and, not do things.
Destroy the water supply. We've had a few of these towns where some corporation left their shit in the water and they still can't drink it. We had one, it was like 60 years they couldn't drink the water for the last 60 years.
That was in Alabama.
Yeah, in Alabama. They found benzene, naphthalene, phenols, and metals in the water.
Oh, my God.
And recommend that they use fans while bathing or washing clothes to avoid risk of explosion. This isn't don't drink it, you'll get sick. This is the water will explode. Do you understand how bad the water has to be for them to fear explosion in a fucking confined area? The gases will really put a fan on it.
Yeah, the fumes in your water are bad.
Wow, that is crazy.
Turn on a fan when you shower.
I've seen flammable water before, but I've never heard of that water might explode. That I've never heard before. This is crazy. Wow. Holy shit. They found out in 2016 a study confirmed the chemicals used in fracking impacted the drinking water. It was well water and shit leaked into the wells.
Fantastic.
So there's only one review of this town. So reviews, it's out there, man. It really is. There's not a lot of people. It's 5 stars. This is the mayor of Pavillion here said this.
Don't worry, I have a lot of fans.
It's okay. Get free fan when you enter town. They just have a stack of box fans out there by the welcome sign.
Constant breeze in my house.
You get flagged down like a roadblock when you go in, and they're like, "Y'all staying? Just driving through? Okay, now go ahead." And then, "Y'all staying? Oh, well, here, take your box fan just in case." Y'all never know when you're going to do laundry. Wow. Here, Lasco. So Pavillion is a great little town. When there is a crisis, everyone works together to solve the problem.
Oh,
okay.
So
well, hopefully you can drink the water soon.
Fumes out of the water.
Let's do it. And all the people consists of 230 people. That's the population here. Yeah. It's the middle of nowhere. I mean, more male than female by a good amount actually, because it's a lot of ranching and things like that. You hire ranch hands come in and cowboys and shit like that. There's 54% almost male. Median age is 32 and a half, which is lower than average. There's a ton of kids here. This is all of the old people demographics are lower because it's cold in the winter. It's rough work. Like if you don't retire here, you retire from here because it's hard. But all
the environment will murk you in your retirement age.
Yeah, all the demographics under 45 are all way high, especially kids under 14. They're way up there. 56% of the people here are married, so it's a little bit higher than normal. 80% white in this town, 0.0% black, 0.0% Asian. 10.9% Hispanic. So it's just kind of Cowboys and Mexicans, and then Native Americans, obviously, too. It's 5.9% Native American. Religion, 33.9% are religious here, which is lower than the average. It's usually about 50-50, and it's spread around pretty clean. The highest one, and it's under 10%, is Mormon. So
is that right?
Yeah, and that's under 10%. So it's spread out. Some Methodists, some, a couple of Baptists, a Pentecostal or two, a Presbyterian here or there sprinkled on top for flavor, like paprika. So politically, in Fremont County, 30.5% of the people voted Democratic in the last election, 66.3% Republican, 3.2% independent, a little more independent than most out here because it's an independent type of place.
Yeah,
you have to be kind of independent. If you live in a town of 230 people where you can't drink the water, you got to be somewhat independent. The water's explosive. Like you're fending for yourself out there.
You are learning stop, drop, and roll very early,
very quickly. Shit, you're learning shrapnel comes from the washing machine. So if the washing machine blows, look out for shrapnel is a thing you learn at a young age.
I lost a Kenmore in 1994.
Oh, man, tell you what, I didn't put my fan on and it was a problem. So the unemployment rate's about average here. It's a touch high, but nothing much. The median household income, a little bit low, $48,182 a year, which is about $5,000 below the national average. Cost of living, $100 would be average, regular. Here it's 92.7, so a little bit low. Housing is actually lower than the norm, but there's not a lot of it available is the problem. So it's valued low, but when you sell it, that actually sells higher. But Wyoming in general, like the places where there's population, it's expensive. The places like Jackson Hole, it's like that's like Montecito or something. Right. They're like $20 million estates and shit. Sure. It's crazy up there. So median house cost here $230,100, which is lower than the average. Yeah, it's not terrible. So if we've convinced you, have we talked you into it yet? If we have, we have for you the Pavillion, Wyoming Real Estate Report. The average two-bedroom rental here goes for $871. I don't know if there are any apartment complexes in a town of 250 people, so most complexes have more people than that, so I'm not sure. So the houses I found, this here is a 2,012 square foot house. They don't really say the bedrooms or bathrooms on this one. Appears to be about a 3-bedroom, 2-bath maybe.
It's a good-sized house.
It's a good-sized house. It's like a fancy log cabin is what it is. There's a gym there in the house, but it's like log cabin style, so you feel like you're working out in the woods, which is interesting.
Very Wyoming.
It's very Wyoming. Zillow insists that there's a large tree. In their description, they tout this tree that you're really going to love, and there is no tree in any of these fucking pictures. And it's just wide open space, so you'd see a tree. So I don't know if the tree's now been cut down or something, but that was the drawing point, and that's not even there.
Maybe the house used to be the tree.
I don't know, man. It used to be in the tree, maybe. 10 acres, though, it's on. 10 acres of nothing.
That's great.
$450,000 for that.
No.
So, 10 acres and a house. Here's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's on 19 acres, so a little more here. 1,352 square feet. It looks like it looks like a lonely house that in an old Western, like the bad guys, you'd sense trouble when the bad guys rolled up to the house and a woman came outside in a bonnet and it's just her and her 2 little kids there and the husband's gone or something. You're like, oh, they're going to rape everybody. That's what this house looks like. And
that house is going to get burned down.
Oh, yeah, no, anyone could scream, and in miles around, no one's going to hear you, so that's not good either. That one is $475,000 for this house.
With 19 acres.
19 acres, yeah. So it's the acreage, though. It looks like, I don't even know if shit grows there. It looks pretty rough.
It's probably very rocky.
It is. 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,376 square feet. Oh. Very weird. It's like half regular house, half cabin. It looks like
onto probably.
Yeah, one of the two were added onto it, and it's kind of cool though. It looks like if you were going to move to Wyoming, this is the house you'd picture in your head that you would be moving into, kind of thing. Yeah. And it's on 40 acres.
Holy shit!
So it's a lot, but inside the house needs some updating. It looks like it hasn't been touched since about '86. It looks like the interior of Full House kind of thing. It's not good. $595,000 for that though.
For 40 acres.
40 acres in a 2,400 square foot house that needs some renovation.
Goodbye. Yeah, you're never going to hear from me again, James.
Grab some tile and go there. Grab some tile and go there, man.
I'll hit Floor and Decor and grab a U-Haul and be on my way.
Oh, you'd off yourself in 3 weeks up there by yourself. You'd lose your mind. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You'd be calling me desperate in like 3 weeks. You'd have like scraggles of hair coming out that you forgot to shave. You'd be like a mess on the top of your head.
I can't get internet signal. I can't call my therapist.
I can't do anything. I'm stuck here.
Keep me on board, man.
My God, this is terrible. Why'd I do this? Oh, my God. I yelled
all because I'm a cheap fuck and wanted 40 acres for nothing.
I yelled, and it echoed for about 45 minutes, James. I can't take it. Please get me out of here. I just kept hearing it repeat and repeat and repeat.
There's bears at the door. I think I called them.
Oh, man. Cry. Oh, no, I don't know what to do. You'd be losing your mind out there. Things to do in this town. I mean, if there is any. But I found a couple of things. There are some things. Allison found some things here, too. There is the Fremont County Heritage Festival.
Oh?
Okay.
Don't like that.
Enjoy Western-style family fun at the Heritage Festival. Craft and vendor show. Fiddle contest.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. They break it down. There's a Tykes fiddle contest.
Jesus Christ.
A little tykes and a bigger tykes. So you get like the age groups, and then there's the older people fiddle contest, and there's like rounds of 2 songs you have to compete. It's probably a big deal there. There's a Dutch oven cook-off, which just makes immature people like us laugh because we're like, oh man,
you can't call it that.
Whose farts are the stinkiest?
You can't call it that anymore, you guys. You just have to say...
you bring in all their wives to judge?
Anything.
This is Susan from Laramie. Well, when Trevor stuck my head under the covers last week, I tell you what, snot came released from my nose like I had rubbed pepper in it, and tears shot from my eyes like my grandpappy just died.
Is the Dutch oven cook-off? Is it just a bunch of jars that people trapped farts in? You got to off them?
That's what I mean. Well, there's prizes. You have 3 hours to prepare your best dish in your Dutch oven cook-off.
Yeah.
First prize, $200. So make it stinky, people. It's not bad. Then there is best bread is $25 and best dessert. These are not to be cooked in a Dutch oven. These are just. Anyway,
bring it how you brung it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a cornhole tournament, a trade show, and a quote bull riding extravaganza.
Yeah.
So there's a whole extravaganza. I feel like we should get in on that.
Do they do it different? Because if not, you shouldn't use that word.
The bulls wear outfits and they do runway work first, and then they buck people off. It's a different experience. It's an extravaganza, Jimmy. It's a gala. It's a gala event.
Right, here's a Brahma and some Louboutins.
He comes out, looks, flashes his ass a little bit, trots on down. Cowboy jumps on him, he bucks him off. It's an extravaganza. It's the only way to describe it.
I do want to see a bull in Louboutins now.
That would be a good thing to see. Come on. See that fucking red bottom. So then there's the Fremont County Fair. You can go here also. They have a carnival.
Yeah.
Okay. Junior livestock sale. So that's children and livestock for sale. The same thing. Monster truck insanity tour.
Okay.
That sounds like a lot.
Monster Jam exists. So what's so insane about it?
It's insane. It's like the extravaganza. It's the Monster Truck Insanity Extravaganza Tour. That's what it is.
Is the driver on the outside of the car? It's not very insane.
It's not insane. That would be insane. Let's see how insane it is. Is there a guy sitting there with another guy with a remote controls his car? That would be insane.
I watch that.
Pulling out their big antennas.
Yeah.
Fucking, that would be awesome.
Like 7
like slot cars and shit. Yeah. It's a long one, yeah, because you got a lot to control. That's what I was doing. I kept doing it.
Yeah, it's a big machine.
The Timmy Challenge, which is a, quote, bull ring event. I have no idea what this is, and there's no more information on it. So you got to beat Timmy, apparently. I don't know if Timmy's a bull or if Timmy's a guy.
He's out there and he's
taming
done
bulls.
bad, and we're treating him like Gladiator and just releasing bulls at him.
That's possible. I don't know. There's the Ranch Rodeo, the Wind River Rodeo Roundup. So 2 different rodeos there.
Yeah.
Fremont Family Day. That's for the kids, I guess. Hog and Mud Wrestling. Hog and Mud. Hog in mud. Hog and hog and mud.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like
yeah.
you're wrestling hogs in the mud is what I feel like that is. Which
don't like that.
Don't like that. And then there's the parade. And then the music comes, of course. The performers. Well, I have a couple of musicians and then something else. Music by Kale Moon with a C. Kale with a C. Kale.
C-A-L-E?
Kale Moon is his name. And he looks kind of douchey. And then Jared Rogerson, who claims to be fun for the whole family. And so I don't know if he sings country kid songs or what.
Not the other guy. He swears a lot.
Oh, he curses like a bastard. He gets in here just saying, "These fucking nights on the ranch with the sky above my fucking head, my titties flopping to the side." That's a different
Kale's
song.
out there countrifying Tupac, but I keep it family friendly.
Keep it family friendly. They both wear cowboy hats. And then the Party People, which is described as disco comedy magician.
The 3 worst things.
Which makes my head hurt. And I want to clothesline him off a stage already.
Oh, boy.
I hate
it's
that
raining
shit.
men, and then they make it rain men? Is that what happens? And it's a joke?
If you're really magic, you don't need to be funny.
Right.
People develop a sense of humor because they're not magic. That's the point. So that's what I've always said about magicians. If your tricks
if you're really magic, why does it need a soundtrack?
Yeah. And if you're really funny, you don't need a card trick. So those 2 things, they shouldn't go together. That's my point. Don't like comedy magic for these purposes.
Pretty good.
Crime rate in this town, what we're interested in, of course. Property crime, a little bit over. It's about half of the national average, which there's 230 fucking, who are you robbing? Yeah, what's happening? What are you stealing? What are you breaking? I don't know.
Rustling.
Maybe some rustling. I'm not sure. Yeah. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault. I almost didn't say robbery there. The Mount Rushmore of crime is about 25% under the average, too. So it's not even that, far down as what you would expect. So that said, let's talk about some murder here. Let's talk about several murders because there's a bunch of murder in this one. Let's talk about first Gerald Uden, okay? Uden. Uden. Gerald Uden, born in 1944. Old Gerald here. He comes from different kind of a family. It's like a kind of a hoity-toity, upper crusty Southern family.
Really?
He comes from. His mom's side had goes all the way back to colonial people that fought the British in the Revolutionary War. And they had the U.S. Supreme Court Justice James McReynolds was a family member, an ancestor. He's famously sexist and anti-Semitic, mainly. That's his claim to fame. Is he
Uden or the Supreme Court Justice?
The Supreme Court Justice McReynolds was, yeah. And his Grandpa Uden was would go out west and would hang out with Buffalo Bill to hunt buffalo. So, yeah, his family's kind of famous. Grandpa Uden, the Buffalo Bill hanger-on, he gave Gerald his first rifle when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Told him about gun safety. This is when he's in first grade. and had him shooting sparrows' nests under the farmhouse eaves and would get a penny a nest.
With bullets?
With bullets.
Jesus Christ. Climb up the fucking stepladder, sir. What are we doing?
Yeah, let's get a pellet gun in that kid's hand, too. There's a fucking bird. I mean, they're like, shoot him.
It's a sparrow's nest.
Yeah, penny a...
Murkett's children.
Yeah, a penny a bird, not a penny a nest. A penny a bird, He paid him. So, yeah. At one point, he had to, one of his friends, he shot his friend in the forehead with a BB. So he's got BB guns. And Gerald said, well, he was, while he was upset that he shot his friend and was in trouble for it, he was aiming for his forehead, so he was happy he hit what he aimed for.
I'm pretty impressed with how I did.
I did a pretty good goddamn job here. So, yeah, he's his family ends up kind of in Wyoming, too. He joins the Navy. We'll just cut to that. He joins the Navy when he was 17. His dad had to give him permission because he was only 17, and he does that in June 1960. He qualifies as a sharpshooter as well. He had never swum before, so he learned to swim. He he's got dumped by his girlfriend while he's out on there. He went to Cuba during the Bay of Pigs fucking mess there. And he went to Africa, so he got around the world a little bit, had a bit of an adventure, and then he got discharged because this is before Vietnam. Right. So, I mean, they were like, all right, see you later. There was no active. For him. Yeah, so he does that. He gets discharged, and he ends up going to Wyoming. There was nobody left where he's from, so he's like, fuck it, I'm going to Wyoming. So he moves out there. He had a 59 Ford sedan and moved out there. And, cool. By the way, great information. A lot of this comes from a book, and I'll give you the title and all that and plug it all at the end of the show, too. So he ends up shooting on out there. His 59 Ford had just died, so he got on a Greyhound bus and went out to Wyoming.
Dropped a 59 Ford and jumped on a Greyhound.
On a Greyhound. The Ford, I guess it blew up there. It's a 5-year-old car, though. I think I'd work on it, but I guess not.
I'd rather push a Ford than ride a Greyhound.
That's what I'm saying, especially all the way the hell out there. So his parents lived in Lander, Wyoming, and he paid his parents $50 a month in rent, and he found work as a $2.29 an hour maintenance man, which was half decent money back then, for U.S. Steel. There was a, what's it called? Taconite? Taconite? Is that how you say it? Taconite?
Probably Tassinite.
Tassinite? That's probably right. There's a mine out there near all of this shit, so he got a job fixing equipment and oiling machines and doing some welding and just general maintenance guy around there. So, yeah, he's doing all that. He finds himself, is what he's trying to do in Wyoming. He wants to have a family. He wants to get a job and a family.
Sure.
That's what he's looking for here. So he's trying to figure it out, what to do. He had been a radio man on the aircraft carrier USS Independence is what he was doing. And thought it was bored, basically. He was bored. Really? He thought it was boring. Well, his job, for the most part, was to listen for Soviet submarines off the Carolina coast. So he just listened for sonar, which is, but he thought it was boring. He likes to hunt and get out in the open and shit. And he's like, this is boring. I'm sitting on a ship listening to sonar over and over. Yeah, that's got to be boring as shit. So. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Anyway, this is he gets here from Nebraska, which is where he's from, and he's working in a lumber yard after a while, and he's interested in guns and he's interested in ladies.
Okay.
He's interested in meeting a young lady to have a family with, as well as hunting. So, when he was in the Navy too, he became kind of a collector of firearms, and he's the type of guy that from 30 feet away he could tell you exactly what kind of gun that is and what you know. Right? Yeah, he's that kind of dude who could tell you what it's worth. You know, this and that, and this. Yeah. 5 years earlier, they had a stock like this, but they shaved it down, and he'd start telling you all that shit. Like people with cars, he's that kind of guy. Like that kind of shit. So he did all of that. He everybody said he kept his weapons immaculate and they were perfect, and he had all his gun magazines. He was super into it. And in Wyoming, that's a good way to meet chicks, apparently, is being into guns, because they are too. In 1965, in the fall, he got a bull elk. He shot one, which they're fucking hard to get too, those bull elks, because they're
also fucking enormous.
Oh, they're enormous and terrifying, but they're hard to get because they're on the they're very touchy normally. From 300 yards away, they'll hear you and run away, and then if you in season when they're out looking for pussy for some elk pussy, they're on the hunt, on a pussy hunt. When they're looking. Then they're super aggressive and dumb as shit. They'll like ram the side of your car because they think you're a female elk. I only know this because Hunter Thompson lived in Colorado and wrote about them all the time.
They're also like the leader of the herd, too.
Oh, they're huge, too.
Mad aggressive.
And super aggressive anyway. So he shot one of those, and he was psyched. It was like fucking awesome.
Look at me. I'm better than an elk.
Look at me. I've conquered this animal. So he conquers this animal here. He hauls it home with him and butchered it on a telephone pole in his dad's alley. That's nice. He did all this shit. He splayed it out. He splayed out this hide across some dirt in his backyard, and he got the flesh out. He was going to so weird. He was thinking of having some of the skin tanned into a piece of leather by a guy he knew. He's thinking about that. He said, out of nowhere, a girl walked up. Yeah. A girl named Barbara Ann Phillips walks up. And she's lived next door. She's the girl next door. And they'd seen each other around, but, whatever. She's still in high school. He's in his early 20s, so they're not thinking about, she never looked at him. But she came over and she said, where'd you get him? Meaning the elk. She's into that. And he said, Twin Creek below Limestone Mountain. And she said, how big? He said, 5 by 5. And she said, nice. How much did he weigh? So he's like,
give me this elk stats.
Giving elk stats. He's like, this chick's interested in elk stats. This is cool as fuck. This is like this is like if you're hanging out now and they're like, someone comes up to you and a girl comes up to you and they were like, hey, you know what Steph shot from 3 tonight? You'd be like, huh?
Say again?
What was that? Did you just, okay. All right, sure. That would shock you into starting over.
It's the 60s, and her name's Barbara Ann. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's all of it. Yeah, it's got the Beach Boys there.
Yeah.
She said, nice. How much did he weigh? He said, maybe 700. So that's a lot. It's a big fucking animal. She said, what'd you get him with? He said, Winchester 264 Magnum. She said, I got a 270 myself. Was yours long shot? And he said, 100 yards, once through the heart. Went down like I hit him in the head with a hammer and stayed down. She said, what are you going to do with the hide? This girl is like hardcore.
She is into it, yeah.
Jesus, Barbara Ann Elk Killer over here. She's hardcore, man. He said, I don't know, a blanket maybe. And she was like, yeah, cool. This motherfucker's cool.
Oh, and then he hits a bed reference. He's slick too.
Maybe, and she's being a little flirty, he's thinking maybe. He takes things flirty too, like that. He really does, yeah. So she also is a really good shot, actually. And she's like, look at this guy. And she's impressed. She's like, look, he literally brings home the meat. Look at this guy, yeah. And she thought he was cute. And she thought he was enamored with her because he thought she was cute. And she's into elk butchery. Like, that's not normal for a teenage girl.
What she looks like with these words coming out of her mouth.
That too. So she said he asked her out at one point, and they went to see a movie at the Landers Movie House. And they're immediately in love, basically, here. She's only 17, though. But she's about to be 18 and graduate. She's in her senior year of high school. And this is the 60s.
Probably 15, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the 60s, too. So as long as she's not 12 and his cousin, I think they're going to let it go.
14 and his student.
Oh, my God. That's so creepy. That was too much, man. So Barbara Ann's uncle is a preacher. Married them in December of that year.
Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. They have a $75 a month apartment over the old J.C. Penney.
Wait, what? J.C. Penney had apartments over?
Apartments over. Apparently, it was like a Main Street J.C. Penney. Yeah. This is before malls and strip malls, so I'm sure it was on Main Street with apartments over it. So you could run out of anything and be like, run downstairs and grab me. Yeah, get a range oven. Just bring it back up here. I think... Go get a basketball hoop and bring it up here. I'd like to have one now.
Yeah, a basketball hoop, some shoelaces, and a range.
Can you get that for me? And a new fishing pole. Perfect. Great. I'll meet you up here.
See if they got a canoe.
Swing by the jewelry section, too, and see what they got there. So they ended up, they bought a used trailer after that and parked it in Gerald's parents' backyard. Yikes. And they were hunting and fishing all the time, and he loved it. She could bait her hook and, had her own hunting rifles and shot really well and loved sex, and it doesn't get any better than that.
I do like a girl that will do some outdoorsy shit, but let me bait the hook. I like that part. That feels...
You want to feel like the guy?
I don't know. I just feel like... I don't want you to get all these worm guts and power bait all over you. I feel bad for you. You just got your nails done. Let me handle that. These callous hands will deal.
I don't think Barbara Ann's doing her nails, though.
No, I don't think so either.
I think she keeps them sharp in case she needs to claw Moose's eye out or something and gets in some close combat. She just files them to a point, probably.
I'll bet they're shorter than skin line because they get in the way of getting the ammo reloaded.
That too. I'm not sure. So they had some problems, though, because Barbara got put on birth control pills. And ladies, I'm sure you know this. Guys, you might not know this, but guys think of birth control pills. And there's a standard pill, and you give it to a girl, and then she doesn't have babies, and that's that. Yeah. Whereas there's a fucking million different birth control pills that are completely different and made from different things and are completely different reactions. So a lot of times when a woman goes on birth control, it takes like 5 pills to get the right one that doesn't make them break out or gain 40 pounds or
their whole body up.
Or feel sick all the time or be lethargic or all this type of shit.
Or bleed for fucking 7 weeks straight.
Or in Barbara Ann's case, get life-threatening blood clots.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and this was the 60s too. So I don't know. I'm sure that's refined now because this was, 70 years ago? It's a little different. So this puts her in the hospital. So she is in the hospital for a few days, and she's still, hurting when she gets home. And Gerald said, well, you're home now, so let's get to those chores. And,
hey,
let's
Gerald,
get to
calm down. Yeah.
Let's get to cooking and cleaning here. I don't care, blood clots or not. I'm still hungry when I get home at the end of the day, is what he said.
Welcome home. I got you a new Dutch oven to cook with.
Well, I got you a couple of Dutch ovens. Let's go through them. They're different.
Here's one, and you're going to make the other one.
Yeah. So he said, get up off your ass.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And get back into the swing of things. And she said, sure, I'll get up off my ass and I'll go down to the court and file for divorce, you asshole. And she divorced him because of his reaction.
Well done, lady. I like it.
She's decisive, Barbara Ann. I mean, she likes you. You're the elk guy. I like you. I didn't like what you said there. You pissed me off. I'm cutting you off. That's it. Done.
I can bait my hook. I can sign my own papers.
That's it. Yep. She's Barbara Ann's badass. So, 1973, he meets Wanda. Okay. Now, Wanda, so some years go by where he's just playing the field and meeting girls. I mean, he's meeting them and not really falling in love with anybody, but he meets Wanda, who's everybody says is just a nut, basically. She's a nut, but she likes to shoot guns and do all of that. The book that I'm reading here, that I have a lot of stuff from, described her as, quote, a dishwater blonde with a feral streak.
What?
A feral, like she likes to go wild. She loves
dishwater blonde, sometimes homeless.
And that's what they say, a dishwater blonde with a feral streak. She loved motorcycles and the wild thing. That's the line from the book, quote unquote. She likes to ride motorcycles and take off out of nowhere.
She's a party.
If the main character of a romantic comedy movie, I almost called it a romantic comedy movie was a guy, this is the girl he meets.
Got it.
He works for an insurance company and he's real buttoned up, and she comes in and spills his coffee all over him and is like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And then by the end,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, by the end of the day, they're being chased by people she owes money to, and he's in love. So,
and he just can't leave. She's just so rad.
Gotta have it.
Yeah.
So they have another quick wedding. They move into a trailer behind a bowling alley, which is
he loves being
the class. The class there.
He loves having a home real close to commerce.
Real close to something, yeah. Close to something.
I need it close to somewhere where I can have my disposable income taken from me.
Yeah, we'll go drink at the bowling alley, stumble home. It's fun. This lasts 6 weeks, and then Wanda takes off on him again.
Whirlwind Wanda. Yeah.
6 weeks. She's feral.
What are you going to do?
He left the door open too long one day. She just skirted out. He was like, shit. Damn it, I thought I had her house broken. But yeah, that's the only way I've heard feral described.
He brought the groceries in and left the door open.
He left it in. Yeah, they had another couple of bags out in the car. He had two 12-packs of soda he couldn't grab with his bags. And
she runned off.
He was trying to just hook it with his foot to close it. And as he was doing it, right out of the door, he's like, damn it. Wanda, come back here. She never even looked back. Just tore ass. Ran as hard as she could.
What's more frustrating than saying the name of what you're calling and who or what, and it just keeps going the other way?
Oscar did that last week.
Oh,
my
really?
dog, my young dog, he just turned a year old, and he's really good, too. In the house and even in the yard when he's on his thing, you say, Oscar, come here, and he runs right to you, and he stands there. What do you need from me? He's all attentive. Super attentive. He's into
Oscar reporting for duty.
Oh, that's what he looks like, too. His chest sticks out. What do you need from me? I'll sniff out any bird you got. He's a German short-haired pointer, so he's always looking for birds and pointing at shit. And you're like, stop pointing. He'll sniff the air and then point. And I'm like, what? A quarter mile that way? There's a bird? That doesn't help me. And I'll tell him that. I go, you're not helping. And he's like, what? I don't know.
Shit, so we can go inside. It's cold.
I dropped his leash the other day, putting a glove on, trying to get gloves on while holding his leash outside because it was cold. Dropped his leash, tried to step on it, and he just kept walking, didn't realize, and then he realized he was off and just started kind of trotting through my backyard. Ended up across the street in a neighbor's yard. I had to go run over there and grab him, and I'm yelling, Oscar! Not even just, he's just sniffing and looking around. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Hold on, there's something over here.
Little bastard.
Mom does it in the backyard with cinder blocks all around. He'll go wander. You've done all the pissing you're going to do. We're going back in the house.
All the pissing's done.
Vaughn, let's go. And he just keeps walking. What are you doing? Come here. And he just keeps walking.
Where are you going?
I can't hit animals.
Yeah, I know. You just stop. You want to have a talk with them. I want to sit them down, but they're just staring at you. They don't know what you're saying.
You don't understand. When I say Vaughn, you come.
Yeah.
See? That's
in the house when I do it and you come?
Yeah.
Remember that? Same thing.
You just know when we're outside, there's no food in my hand, so you just walk away.
And Oscar, if you're in the woods, he'll come. That's the thing. He'll stay close by and come. You can put him off the leash, but not in the yard. It's too much distraction. There's things to smell. It's crazy. We got to work on him. We're working with him. So
this is just a yard, man.
come on, dude.
He won't come back.
Won't come back. Nope. I'm running behind him. He's just trotting a little faster. I'm like, never look back at me once.
He can hear you.
Oh, he could hear me. He knew I was coming. So, either way, Gerald here, he's depressed after Wanda leaves.
I believe it, yeah.
He's sad. So he goes back out on the market again.
Yeah.
He's 30 years old now.
Self-closing hinges.
That's yeah. That's what he's got to do. He's like, I know better now. I know better now. I know what to do. He's looking for a lady. He's actively looking for a lady, not just if he comes across one. Mm-hmm. He tells his landlady, woman named Fran. By the way, this is like 1974 Tinder. There was no Tinder.
Yeah.
Or there's no apps, so you had to tell a lady named Fran that you were looking for love, and then if she came across anybody, she'd say, I know a nice young man.
A lady who you give a check to once a month.
Yeah.
So she knows you've got it.
I'd like to say, yeah, she knows you have money. She knows how you're living. Yeah. I'd like to start an app called Fran now. It's just... It's the equivalent of a lady named Fran hooking you up with somebody.
You just give your lifestyle living arrangement, and we try to match somebody with it.
Yeah. So, Fran had owned the vacant lot behind the bowling alley that he rented the trailer from with Wanda there. So, Fran was a rodeo lady back in the day.
Of course
so,
she was.
Yes, she was. And she knew everybody. She's been there forever. She knew everybody, and she liked Gerald and told him that she hated to see a good man go to waste.
Oh.
So she's going to find him somebody.
Take him?
Well, a few days later, a knock comes at his door, and it's a woman, mid-20s. This is right from the book here. I'll describe her. I like the book descriptions because they're weird. It was a very good, very well-written book, by the way. I'm not knocking the book writing, but the descriptions are always weird. It was a dark-haired, dark-eyed woman in her mid-20s, a little chunky, but not bad-looking.
They're very honest.
Well, I mean, you want the person to picture it. You're not trying to be nice.
Yeah.
You're trying to put the picture of this. You're writing a movie for their mind. Yeah. So she had big glasses too, big old glasses.
70s, yeah.
Nice smile too, and she's holding a gun. Now,
shit.
Normally, when you get a knock on your door and you open it and it's an armed stranger, you're concerned.
Yeah.
In Wyoming, that's considered a friendly gesture. Hi, how you doing? Just brought my rifle. I'm not even kidding because...
It's a rifle?
It's a rifle. She said, you Gerald? And he said, yeah. I'd go, who's asking? Yeah. A lady with a rifle? Why are you looking for Gerald? I wouldn't admit to being Gerald to an armed stranger who just knocked on my door immediately.
No, let me get him. Slam the door.
Yeah,
call the cops.
Fucking lock it and shit. Well, you don't have to slam it because you have those self-closing hinges now after Wanda got away. So you don't have to slam. You just step back out of the doorway and it slams right in her face. like a school for 3-year-olds.
That big arm,
bang, bang, real quick.
Just sucks it closed.
Take a child's arm off; it closes so fast. That's what you want.
It's an arm guillotine.
Good news, bad news. Good news is your child's here. Bad news, missing part of his arm, but he didn't get away. So her name is Virginia, and she said, "I'm Virginia. I was wondering if you could help me. Fran sent me over here." Said you were the guy to talk to. Would you mind maybe taking a look at this rifle and tell me what it's worth? Can you do that?
Oh.
So he thought it was nice. He knew all his gun shit. So he's in there. He invites her in. They're sitting in his shitty trailer. Yeah. And he's looking at the rifle. Winchester Slide Action 22. Apparently it's been in her family for a while. It belonged to somebody. It was from the Depression era. Comes apart pretty easy. Looking at it, sees there's a carving in it. It's her grandfather's gun is what it was. Okay. Yeah. So he said, nice gun, but, without the original stock, he said it's probably worth like $35.
Yeah.
Which is probably, about what somebody bought it new. It's probably about worth the same. He said, sorry. And she said, oh, that's all right. So they talked though, he's like, well, now that you're here, let's chit chat. I'm looking for chicks. You're in my trailer. There's 230 people in this town. Let's get it on.
You're into guns and don't know that much about them, so
I could teach you. So she's a single mom. She moved back to town. She's got 2 young sons. She's got an ex-husband who was not paying her child support. She's got a series of minimum wage jobs, that type of thing. Not enough money. all this type of shit. So she's trying to sell a rifle, get a few bucks, and help herself a little bit. So she said, winter's coming, it's tough. And he said, man, he felt sorry for her. Sure. Winter was coming. She seemed like she's got these kids and she's broke and she's stressed out. And he's like, man, he thought about making an offer for the gun himself just to
help her out. Yeah.
Help her out. But instead, he said, you want to hang out? How about some dick? Will that make you feel better? He decided for stress and money problems and kids and ex-husbands, penis will be a good.
Let's take you for a test ride. Maybe you should move in.
Yeah, you could maybe do that. So he offered to help her with some chores. So Gerald's helping her around the house. It's like the chores, outside stuff that she didn't want to do. She lives near like what was a coal camp back in the day.
Oh. He comes over to her house and helps her?
Yeah, helps her out at her house. It's a town called Hudson, and it was a coal camp. And apparently, there's not a real reason for it to be there now. It used to be a coal camp, and now it's just some people left. So he drove out there, and it's about 12 miles from his house. She rented a little house on a street. They actually had a couple of paved streets in this town. She lived on one of them. Mm-hmm. That's a luxury there. It was an old house, and she had 2 young sons as well. Sure. So she's got 2 young sons, Richard and Reagan are their names. They're 4 and 6 at the time, and Dad's not around. Mom's having a hard time keeping it all together, and they're both hyperactive as shit. Oh, so it's tough. Yeah. And Gerald sees that there is just a lot going on in this house. Mm-hmm. You walk in. It's a mess. The kids are running around. There's shit flying. They're screaming. Yeah. She's trying to calm them down. They're not listening. It's one of those households where you're just like, oh, boy. She's like, sit down. There's Cheerios in the couch. I don't know. You'll find them in there like on Family Guy with Quagmire sitting there. There's Cheerios in the couch cushion if you get hungry. So he said like when she got around the kids, she just changed and got very tense? Full of anxiety and tense. Uh-huh. And Gerald said all he could think while looking over this scene was, they need a man in their life is what they need.
God, Jesus.
Kids need a father. She needs a husband. That's what that's what's going on here. So, needs. That's right, damn it. So, she had been at a bunch of quick jobs here and there. She was reselling stuff that she picked up at garage sales at this point in time, trying to make a living here.
Shit.
Yeah, she moved around a lot, so she doesn't have a lot of stuff because she leaves a lot of stuff behind. No spare cash. Her mom, Claire, runs the local laundromat. So they're not a wealthy group of people, but, she's trying. She got pregnant when she was 20. She was married for 6 months. And then he kicked her out there after she called one of his kids from a previous marriage. She called him a little son of a bitch.
He had enough, huh?
Yeah, the kid was I guess it was a young kid, still under 5. Called him a son of a bitch, and he kicked her the fuck out.
Take your kid with you.
Take your 2 kids that I just put in you and leave because you were mean to my other kid.
Take these 2 sons of bitches with you.
Good God. So her son was born a couple months. She didn't even have her kid
pregnant.
yet. She was pregnant. He kicked a pregnant woman out. And he was supposed to pay $75 a month in child support. Yeah. And the other thing is, then the next kid came 2 years later with some other guy who she wasn't married to, just some other guy, a bartender from Jackson Hole.
Oh,
so, those bartenders in those resort towns are a crafty lot.
Yeah, I'm sure she's not the only one he left pregnant.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of little curly-headed bartenders from Jackson Hole. There's a lot of little curly-headed kids all over the place, probably. So here's another quote from the book talking about their relationship, and I like this. First came sex, then came fishing.
Oh.
They say, sex and fishing, sex and fishing. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
That's how Sinatra sang it, I think.
Pretty solid day.
Sex and fishing. Virginia was an outdoors. She liked being outdoors too. Sure, so Gerald liked that. He didn't want to be with someone who didn't like the outdoors at all. Mm-hmm. She'd have her antique gun too. She never did sell it. So she'd shoot that, and he'd shoot his stuff. They'd bring the boys along too.
Sure.
And he said they seemed to do better in the outdoors when they had some room to roam around, and it wasn't,
confines of fucking drywall.
Yeah, exactly. Trailer wall probably, but So Claire, Claire Martin, is Virginia's mother, and he's introduced to Claire. This is my mom here. She manages and owns the laundromat in Riverton there, and Virginia's her only daughter, and she knows Virginia can be kind of high maintenance a little bit,
Sure. Yeah.
And so she's like, this is good that she found somebody. He seems to like her kids, which is another thing, hard to find somebody who's willing to actually take an active part in your two young kids' lives. He
doesn't have any for her to call a son of a bitch and get thrown out.
Exactly. He's got no son of a bitch and kids that are laying around causing a ruckus. Claire's a tough lady. She's a former Pennsylvania factory worker. She worked during World War II in factories and shit like that. So, yeah.
Rosie Rivet.
Yeah, exactly. So, she's a tough, independent lady. And, she's kind of a cool lady from what it sounds like. Okay. So Gerald and Virginia here, they were dating, but you could say it's dating, but he's responsible for their kids. Yeah. I mean, it's all that kind of shit here. So 3 months after they meet, he proposes. Will you marry me? And she said, hell yeah, I'll marry you. Fuck yeah, let's do it. So a few days later, they get married, July 3rd, 1974.
Okay.
So there they are getting married again.
This is fast.
Yep, they moved in together. Gerald stowed his trailer behind Virginia's house, and there we are.
I'm just going to bring my whole house to you.
I'm going to put my house in the back of your house. Is that cool? It's kind of like we have two houses then. So Virginia here, out of nowhere, they're living together, and things seem to be going fine. And then Virginia says she needs to go to Philadelphia. She's going to drive to Philadelphia to visit some relatives, and you can't come. I'm going by myself.
Okay.
So that was weird. Very, very strange there. Odd. So he was like, okay, that's weird. I guess they went to Pennsylvania together, and she said, I'm going to drive to Philly. You stay here with the kids. Yeah, that's a strange one.
Staying back in Wyoming, so weird enough, but this is weirder. Yeah,
exactly. So after a few days, they're supposed to go back to Wyoming. Virginia gives him a plane ticket and says, I'm staying here with the boys for a little while, so you go home and go do your thing. Okay. So
open-ended trip now.
He gets back there, and it's like, okay, the kids are supposed to start school soon, so he's like, well, she's got to be back for the kids to start school, and then they don't come back.
Ouch.
Yeah. He called her and they, argue, and he said, come home, goddammit. Yeah. She said no, but then she came home eventually. But the relationship is totally different. She's a completely different person. Now she won't sleep in the bed anymore together with him. There's some stuff going on. Yeah. She wouldn't talk to him. She didn't understand it. The kids didn't call him dad anymore out of nowhere. It's like some very noticeable things are happening.
Red flags, Gerald.
Yeah. So you won't sleep with me and the kids are calling me Jerry. There's a problem. There's a fucking problem.
I just bought you school clothes, motherfucker.
Yeah. It's just we were just watching On Patrol, the live PD thing, and there was this lady in Florida, and she's like, she got in an argument. The cops came because she was fighting with her stepdad.
Oh, boy.
She's a 40-year-old woman having a domestic dispute with her stepfather, which right away things aren't going well.
Or it's awesome.
She bit him apparently. He had a huge bite mark on his bicep. She said he came up behind her and put her in a chokehold, so she bit him, right? And they're going back and forth, and then they end up arresting her because he's like 68 years old. So they arrest her, and she's yelling at her mom. She's like, Mom, are you happy? Now you happy with this? Getting you happy backing up his story? And Mom just goes, well, you got Jer bleeding over here. And I'm like, you got Jer bleeding over here is the funniest thing ever. So that just reminds me of that. Poor Jer. So they get divorced here. After about a month, she asks Gerald for a divorce.
Yeah.
So she files the paperwork citing intolerable indignities. It's the vaguest shit ever. Intolerable indignities. Not irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
Adultery. There's a lot of things. Intolerable indignities. He made me do butt stuff a lot, like all the time.
Irreconcilable differences is so much more broad. This is it sounds broad, but it's so specific.
That's what I mean. It could be anything, but you know what it is. She's sad and has a sore butthole. Yeah. He likes to do weird things to her. So
indignities.
Wow. So they split up their shit. They agree that he could keep his truck and the motorcycle and their accumulated debts. So he gets all three of those. That's nice. But she kept everything else, and he promised to keep the boys on his health insurance at work for U.S. Steel. And he pays $150 a month in child support.
What?
For kids that aren't his.
How did she got a great lawyer. Holy shit.
He agreed to this. He only makes $8 an hour from the mine.
Holy shit.
So this is a big chunk of that's a big chunk of money if you make $8 an hour. That's a lot. So yeah, he would see his sons too. Not his sons, I guess her adopted, sons. You could call it, her sons. And but he's giving him $150. That's
wow.
Yeah, he felt like a schmuck like that. So he have again got depressed. Here he is. He sits alone, unshaven in his trailer. Just that's what he was doing now after that. Depressed that the woman left him. Now he's 0 for 3. The way he's looking at it.
And this one really cleaned his clock. Gave him all the debt and took everything out. Took everything away.
He was telling people that he felt like that was her plan, was to marry him and then divorce him so she could get some child support and something. But I mean, who knows what the hell? Who knows what was going on in that trailer and behind the house in that trailer? And when there's a trailer involved, all bets are off. Who knows?
Yeah.
When there's a trailer behind a house specifically, that's when anything can happen.
Everything's zero there.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right, let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmie's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah. They're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad. Right. There's chemicals in things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, which is
it's great.
Amazing. Yeah. That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff, and I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool, and you can personalize this portion, and you can put filters on it, and get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So they get some new neighbors. Gerald gets some new neighbors moving into the lot next to his, where his trailer is. He said it's a double wide, too. He was like, oh, look at these fucking, aren't you fancy?
Sons of bitches.
Look at you with your double wide there.
You rich motherfuckers.
That's fine. That's fine. It's cool. And then a couple days later, he gets a knock on the door, and it is it's the trailer park manager. And behind the trailer park manager is, I'll describe it give you the sentence from the book. Let's see, quote, was a big-breasted, comely woman with long dark hair, dressed like a dollar store buckle bunny in a Western pantsuit, cowboy boots, and dangling turquoise earrings.
What is her number?
Yeah, Gerald went, God damn. He was like, wow, where the fuck did you come from in a trailer next to me? Women don't just move in next to you that look like that. This isn't a porn. What's happening?
Come in, Daisy May.
Holy shit. And she has 2 kids also here. Yeah, so she's got a daughter. Yeah, she's got a daughter and a son. So, they needed some help. Then the trailer park manager here was asking him, because he knows how to do things, he knows how to fix things. Yeah. Will you help this lady because she needs some electrical work in the trailer?
Whatever she needs. Yeah.
And he's like, I will fix anything on her. Literally, I will build her a house. Never mind this trailer. I'll pour foundation tomorrow. I swear to God. So I guess there was some problems. Some of the plugs were 110, but there was some 220 stuff going on too. Okay. So whatever. Gerald knows what he's doing, and he was trying to save the lady a couple of bucks. Gerald fixed it over lunchtime.
Sure.
He offered to buy burgers from the Husky Truck Stop Cafe for everyone.
I've got just enough for Huskies.
Just enough for Huskies. Come on down. And he finds out all about this lady. Her name's Alice Prunty at the time. And she said she's a widowed nurse, single mom, trying to do all of that. She's in her early 30s. She's 4 years older than Gerald, or about 3 years older, almost 4 years older.
Also a goddamn catch.
Also, yeah, really attractive. And she'd been married twice before. She had 5 kids altogether, 3 of whom were still school age. The other 2 were grown. She divorced her first husband. She's from Illinois. Her first husband was a cop in Illinois, and she divorced him. Her second husband was not any better, really, there. Then she's had a lot of problems, basically. She got married at 16, had 4 kids right away, got divorced, got married again to an alcoholic who drug her to Wyoming to be a caretaker on his family's ranch, and then he died.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they had a baby, too, so that's why she's got a young daughter, too, named Erica. So she's got this daughter, she's got a teenager, she's got these kids. It's a mess. She's got the ex-husband, she's got the, dead husband. She's got all sorts of stuff happening. She said he died from alcoholism, leaving her a shitload of debt, an infant daughter, and basically screwed, A very small pension from the Army because he was in the Army in Vietnam. He was a helicopter door shooter guy. So,
holy.
In every single Vietnam movie, when the lead character is being taken somewhere on the helicopter, and there's a psychopath at the door going, "Come on, get some," while he shoots children. That's this guy.
Husband. Yeah,
that's Ronnie here. So. Not good, essentially, this guy. And I don't know if all those guys were nuts. I think that's the position you'd put the craziest guy, probably. That's probably why they were all nuts. They're like, who's insane? Have him just shoot people as they go. I don't fucking know.
And then
it's
he's
the safest thing for him.
The rest of his life and pension on booze trying to forget this.
Trying to forget all of this. So since then, she filed for bankruptcy. She'd been a bartender, a bus driver. She was a nurse in a psychiatric hospital here. By the way, that's how she met her husband, her dead husband.
Psych ward?
He was in the psych ward of a small VA hospital, so that's not great. And Gerald hears all this, and all he could think is, she has huge tits. That's all he thinks is, wow. And that's what he said. He was like, man, look at the tits on her. That's all he could think. He's been sitting in his trailer alone for a long time, so he's like, wow, I haven't seen boobs in years.
When they're big, dude, it's so impressive.
They don't have to be big when they're anything. They're impressive. They're just great that they're there.
But real big ones are so impressive.
I mean, they're a showstopper. Don't get me wrong. They're definitely.
Betcha they are.
They get noticed. But
Yeah.
You can also appreciate that's like the big giant boobs are fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Boy.
But that's like a real fancy car with all sorts of bells and whistles and shit on it. And sometimes
74 Eldorado.
sometimes there's with like flags coming off the front and like, like I was just going to say a boss hog bullhorn on the front and all that. That's big giant tits. But sometimes there's just a great car that's made awesome and handles those fucking curves too. And that's great too. I'm just saying. What I mean is boobs are wonderful is my point.
They really are.
That's what we're getting at here. Is we like
incredible.
What we're trying to say is we like boobs, in case you were wondering. So
they're fascinating. God, Jesus.
So Gerald thinks boobs are great. Do you like going fishing?
Okay.
She said, absolutely.
Those will look nice on my boat.
Yeah, those. And if you fall in, I think you can you'll stay above water. So he said, let's do it. I got a place up in the Shoshone National Forest above the old mining camps there near a place called Atlantic City, which is not a city and nowhere near the fucking Atlantic. So that's the worst place named in this entire country, possibly. That is unreal. So he takes her hiking and fishing, and she loved it, and he loved it, and oh boy, were they having a good time. She has a job. He likes that. She has a trailer. She has her kids. He gets there, looks around that. The trailer's clean. The kids are well behaved.
Oh, this is great.
Alice is in charge when the kids are out. She tells them what to do, and they listen. And he's like, "Damn, I like her. She knows how to fish. Fuck yeah, this is all right." So after the fishing, she comes over with her daughter Erica, who's 3 years old at the time. She has her own fishing rod, and Gerald's like, "Hell yeah, look at this! They both have their own rods already. This is hot shit."
Terrific,
so they go up and fish all day, and he was turned on. He's like, "This rod's hot shit." So they start to really get into it. Obviously, they get to fucking here. Clearly,
okay.
This trailer is a rockin', and it is. So they're into it, and they're talking one time after they got done. They're doing that, and she's talking about. She says, "I didn't tell you much about my third husband, the alcoholic one, the crazy guy, the helicopter gunner in Vietnam. That guy there. She didn't have a kid with that guy. She had a kid with the second husband. That's where the Erica came from." So she said he got kicked out of the army for being too crazy. Crazy to be a fucking door gunner in Vietnam. Literally every movie, there's drool and foam coming from their mouths as they're like, "Yeah, get that kid, get it, yeah." They're like screaming as they're shooting
down
grandmothers and children from a fucking helicopter. They went, "He's too nuts for that." So that's something.
This, I think.
Fuck yeah. His name was Ronnie Holtz, by the way, Holtz. And she met him at the small town VA psych ward where she was a nurse. And they ran off together and got married. Must have been a real charmer. They rented a trailer in Cheyenne, and he drove a cab. So that's what they did. Then he started beating her, she said, and started threatening her and the baby.
Shit.
So he would threaten her and the baby when the baby cried. "If you don't stop the baby from crying, I'll beat the shit out of both of you." He would tell her that he killed babies in Nam and he'd kill hers too.
Believe it.
And that's probably not far off. I was going to say, I believe him.
Do not doubt that man.
So near Christmas time, a tree was up. We know that. We don't know exactly when it was, but he apparently, according to Alice, this is bedroom talk. She's laying on his chest here saying that he went nuts and was acting crazy. And she said, "I had to do something about it, so I shot him before he could harm the baby." Yeah, she said it was self-defense. She didn't have a choice, but she shot him and killed him. Didn't just shoot him and wing him, shot him and killed him.
So this is not, he didn't die of alcoholism? She shot him?
She shot him and killed him, yeah.
Oh, my God.
So, she can say self-defense, and they'll probably take him away and go, "Yeah, he's from the psych ward, and he's a crazy guy," and all that. She didn't do any of that, though. She stuffed his body, she tells him, into a cardboard storage barrel, then drove to put that in her Ford Pinto, and drove to a remote abandoned mine shaft that she used to manage with another late husband who she knew about, the one that died before that actually died without being murdered. And she dumped him in there.
Oh, my.
Pushed the thing down a mine shaft. See ya in there. Then she went home, picked up all her shit and her kids, and left town.
It doesn't look suspicious.
And he was a cab driver. Nobody even asked about him.
Nobody noticed.
Nobody gave a fuck about this guy. It didn't even matter.
Oh,
Nobody cared.
God.
No one asked about him, anything like that. A few months later, she filed for divorce, claiming that he abandoned her.
Okay.
And it was granted when he failed to show up for court. So he went on. Now, you just met this hot girl that came to your trailer asking for electrical work with her huge tits and her kids and all this shit. And you hung out with her, you hung out with her kids, everything seems great. You just banged her, and now she's like, oh, by the way, I murdered my last husband and threw him down a mine shaft, which is way worse.
She's more honest after she comes than men.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, men want to lie to leave then. She's like, let me tell you everything I've ever done that's terrible.
Stay close. I got a story to tell.
Now that we've bonded somewhat, I'm going to really bond you to me by telling you.
Now you know what that feels like. Listen to this.
Yeah. So she was crying, and Gerald was like, whoa, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
He said, she said that she wasn't sure. I bet you're not going to be able to love me now. And he said, no, I understand. You're a gentle soul, and I get what would happen, and I'll never tell anybody. Take that to my grave, darling. So then he also said there's some guys like that need to die. You know?
My God.
Sometimes there's some crazy psycho out there who wants to beat up children and hit women and all this shit, and maybe he needed to get shot. So that was that. They were together.
You are
and
everything I want to hear. I'm wet again.
Yep, and that's how it goes. So I don't know why that was the time to tell, but whatever. But he said, nope, we're gonna stick together. So now that she's told him this, she's kind of bonded to him.
She is, yeah. That's more than marriage, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, July 7th, 1976, that's when they met, and 3 months later, his divorce from Virginia finally becomes final, and he can get married. So 2 weeks after his divorce is final, he marries Alice. Yep. And there we go. Jesus Christ.
This is his fourth marriage?
Yep, fourth marriage here. They paid $1,000 for a 20-acre patch of undeveloped land on an unpaved county road out east of Pavillion, and there they go. They moved to Alice.
In the 70s?
76.
Prices haven't changed much since 1908.
Not a lot, no. That probably included the trailer.
Yeah.
So Alice had the bigger trailer, so they moved her trailer in there. Okay. They drilled a water well, which we know about, and we know probably not a good idea at this point in time. So once they had a well, they said, hell yeah. The water, by the way, had a lot of high alkaline content, and made Alice shit herself constantly. Not shit herself, but shit all the time.
Constantly, yeah.
So they also dug a septic tank. They got a propane tank there, and they're doing all this type of shit. They're working it out. So they invite all their friends for a chicken slaughter.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Just say a barbecue.
No. It's an assembly line of slaughtering chickens. It's not a barbecue. Eventually they'll cook some, but Gerald would cut the heads off. Alice would hit them with the water. The kids would pick off the feathers, and then the guests would take shit all after that. They would butcher them and freezer wrap them and all that kind of shit. This is, wow, that is wild.
Horrifying. That's a bad Saturday.
It's a bad stuff, but they love it, and everything's going great. And then here comes Virginia again. Virginia has been floating around. She went back east. She moved back out west. Gerald's been paying her child support. He's supposed to have unrestricted visitation rights, but the Alice was uncomfortable when the kids were around. They're not even his kids, so I get it.
Right.
You're just taking this lady's kids. I understand, but it's a nice thing that he's doing here. So, but Alice didn't really like the whole thing. So Virginia was annoyed by her kids all the time. So she wants to say, will you take the kids sometimes and all that kind of shit. she's had a lot of problems. By June of 78, Virginia has a lot of cash. She'd borrowed money from people. She went to Pennsylvania, bounced around a lot, moved to New Jersey, had nothing there. She had minimum wage jobs, just a problem. So she ends up heading back to Wyoming later on. But for now, apparently Virginia started calling collect to Gerald's house and writing nasty letters to Gerald. Apparently there was an insurance snafu. I don't know if the boys were on the insurance anymore, and she wanted more child support.
Oh, okay. No.
So Alice wrote her a letter. And that letter is, here it is, quote, Virginia, Gerald and I enjoyed your letter as we always do. So that's sarcastic.
Yeah, we read it together.
Oh, yeah. It appears to me that you have the idea that I try to keep your messages, letters, and phone calls, in parentheses, from my husband. We keep no secrets from one another. We have a lot of laughs at your expense. Wow.
Keep swinging, girl.
Oh, it is very, she's coming hard to the hole here. It is very difficult for either one of us to understand how any human being can be as brainless as you are.
Holy shit.
Wow. If you get the idea that I don't like you, you're very correct. So in case that being called brainless and saying I laugh at you, in case that wasn't a clear enough indication of my feelings toward you, let me be direct. Okay.
Here's this.
I have no use for any woman that does not have the mind, backbone, or guts to stand on her own 2 feet and take care of herself and her kids by herself without raping some poor man's pocket. Whoa. Any woman that can't do that is a worthless piece of garbage. Good Christ. Jesus. Fucking Alice is freestyling off the dome. I worked, supported 5 children, and also had to give my tax money to support leeches like you who are too lazy to go out and get a good enough job to take care of your own. You are worse than most of your kind. Wow. Everyone in the family knows how you hounded Gerald to adopt your kids so he could wind up supporting them since their father wouldn't. I guess he legally adopted them. Mm-hmm. She then said, you're quite a con artist. Most lazy trash are. Gerald must have really tried to hold his marriage together by adopting your boys because he doesn't even like kids. He swallowed your line, hook, line, and sinker, and now he pays for it. He was hoping the power plant, and in parentheses, 3 Mile Island nuclear plant, then in crisis, which was right near Virginia's apartment, would explode and take you with it. It's really a shame that it didn't.
I love that she hit a fishing reference back there. That was awesome.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. That's fucking wild. So then there's Virginia writes another letter that we don't know about. Then Alice writes one back.
Fantastic.
Virginia, it's going to be good. My dearest Virginia, I'm afraid I owe you an apology. When I stated in my last letter that last spring Gerald didn't like children and did not want to be a father, I was mistaken. Gerald never told me that he did not like children and did not want to be a father. I only assumed that since he didn't see his sons, since he didn't go to see his sons that he didn't like them. We discussed this recently, and I found out the reason he stopped seeing them was because he thought I didn't want to see them. He knows now that this is not accurate, and he does want to see them. Now for the part of your letter that is directed at me, and then there's a colon. So this is like, here's the list, bitch. Each and every one of my children made their childhood mistakes. Because they were given proper parental guidance, they rose above their mistakes. And I guess there's a point-by-point little picky shit with all the, you said your kids did this, blah, 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 blah. Then she says, my opinion of you has changed. Unfortunately, I gave you credit for a little more intelligence than you actually have. Not only are you now, or have been in the past, a parasite on the taxpayers, you're a snoop that breaks federal laws. Jesus Christ, because apparently she threatened to report Virginia to federal postal investigators for opening insurance checks that were made out to Gerald. Okay. One thing Gerald forgot to mention, your half of the boys' fare at present time is $572. That's to send the boys out there on the plane trip. Mm-hmm. You can either send it to us before their return flight or you can pay it from your end. Their reservations for a return flight are made for April 13th. I guess you aren't capable of reading a return address to see who a letter is from, so I will spell it out. Alice. Shit's from Alice, bitch.
Alice is vicious.
So Virginia said that she didn't have $572 for this, number one. And also, there were actually no airline reservations made. So she was just saying that to needle Virginia. Like, we made the reservations, not that you can pay for them.
Right.
So Virginia gets another letter here. This is unsigned and undated and 5 pages long.
Oh, God, Jesus. This is, man, what a time before text.
Man.
You
yeah.
had to
You had to wait 4 days.
Yeah.
At least a phone wouldn't keep bling, bling.
Yeah.
Fuck! There's not that.
This is the equivalent of like 34 texts in a row right
a
here.
lot. So this is in Gerald's handwriting, but it's 100% Alice's prose. It's little barbs, and it's the shots that she takes, the way she takes them. We've just in 2 letters, Alice's writing style right away. So this is a very weird thing. This is the letter here. Quote, Virginia, our records show that we made the September payment. It seems to me that every time you move anywhere, you forget to leave a forwarding address. I can't help it if mail gets lost because you want to hide.
Okay.
I guess it's time I have to say about the harassment we have received in the last 3.5 years. Up till now, I've been easygoing and let things slide. Every time I turn around anymore, you're threatening to go to court for something, so I guess that's what I'm going to do also. I've never liked the idea of not seeing the boys or contacting them. This will change. This will change. Italicized. I have never been around a more selfish, domineering, scheming person than you. You never had any intention of wanting a father for the boys. Your only interest is in the money. I'm not sure you're a good influence on the boys or mentally capable where they are concerned.
Oh, boy.
You seem to have some pretty sick ideas about a father-son relationship. It may interest you to know that I've been seeing an attorney for some months now to see what we can do to straighten this mess out. I've been reluctant to start proceedings because of possible harm it could do to my sons. Since you insist on this course of action, I am proceeding also. I will insist on my visitation rights. You live too far away for weekly visits, so they will have to come for the summer and holidays such as Christmas and Easter. Of course, while they are here, the support money would stop. My attorney feels a judge would be very interested in your dirty, underhanded dealing. Wow. I want the chance to be a dad to my boys that I was not allowed to be. Having the boys here will give me a chance to help them grow and become men instead of street bums or mama's boys tied to her apron strings. Richard and Reagan carry my name, I think, in parentheses, and I intend that they do so with honor. He said, when a child reaches 14, he can choose to live with either parent. They're 10 and 11 at the time, the boys, and there isn't anything the other can do about it. Alice and I intend to do everything to show my sons that they would be much happier living with us. We have so much more to offer than you ever will. I intend to see my boys grow up and have some real fun in life. We are really looking forward to them coming to be with us and having time so that Alice can get to know her 2 new sons. We're taking your kids. Alice is really good with kids, and I'm sure that she will have them loving her in no time. There's nothing that will give me more pleasure than watching them grow up just like me. Which is the worst thing you could say to your ex-wife.
Wait till they see the tits on new mommy.
Yeah. Big old titties. They're going to love it. There is one way you could stop all of this, and that's to have the adoption set aside and declared null and void. I don't think you'll do that. You worked and schemed too hard to give up now. You have no honor or self-respect. No one on welfare does.
Oh,
that's what he says. So this goes back and forth. They talk about they sent another one. Jesus Christ, asking Virginia. Just wanted to know if we sent just wanted you to know we sent a money order in September. Since it was never returned to us, I will assume you received it and are trying to hold us up for more money. You'll have to furnish more proof that you didn't get it. I'm looking forward to meeting my new sons. This is Alice here. I know the 3 of us will get along just fine and will love one another in no time at all. With the experience I've had raising 5 children, 3 of them sons, I know just what boys need to make them happy. I don't like that at all.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Jesus, that sounds like a fucking Brazzers ad. Jesus, they will love their new mother. We are going to have our boys for part of every year and hopefully in the future on a permanent basis for as many years as Gerald is their legal father. This is the only way we can mold them to be like their father. We have to have some influence in their lives if they are ever to bring honor to Gerald's name. We know that you haven't the ability to do so. Your past record shows that. If you were bluffing then, and you are in for a big shock come Easter, the boys will come to Wyoming, or you'll go to court on contempt charges. If you try to disappear to avoid all this, you'll lose all the support money. As Gerald says, Happy New Year. Holy balls. So this goes back and forth, we'll just say here. They even argue about their kids on the phone, like Richard was being bullied by kids at school, so Gerald said that he probably had it coming.
Oh, my God, Jerry.
He's probably got it coming, little bastard. Little sons of bitches. So
that's a fucking balls thing to say about a kid that you love.
No shit. So Virginia's fucked, basically. She doesn't know what to do, so she moves back to Wyoming. That way he could see the kids, and she'll still get support payments, and her mother lives there also. She can help with the boys. It'd be a little easier. So she gets back there. Gerald calls Virginia to say, hey, I'd like to have a sleepover. Like to have the boys at my house. Not you have a sleepover, but the boys.
Send the boys, please.
So Gerald came to pick the boys up, and Virginia said she wanted to meet Alice first. Okay. So, Gerald said, okay, but as they went out to the car, Alice ducked down in the seat.
Alice?
So Gerald said, no, never mind, that's not going to work. And Virginia said, but I want to meet her. And Gerald said, well, you know me, that's enough, and fucking took the kids. That was that. Yeah. So Alice was still hiding in the seat as they drove away. Man, Virginia just put down a $50 deposit on a really old, shitty trailer to live in, and she doesn't have a lot going on here for her. So they go on a fishing trip, Gerald and the kids, on a boat, and they're out there on this boat, deep, dark. It's over 400 feet deep, this lake. Yeah. Hugely deep lake. And, they at one point, they throw the boys into the water, and Richard tells them, sink or swim.
Oh, my God.
These are children. And so they jumped in, the kids, and tried to dog paddle toward the boat. They dog paddled there. Gerald wouldn't let them in the boat. He would motor away from them. And he said, this will make you better swimmers.
Oh, my God. No, it won't.
So the one kid freaked out and started crying.
Yeah.
The other kid's trying to calm him down while doggy paddling. And all this time, the father's driving farther and farther away. Gerald's just going far away. Then they started screaming for help. So Alice told Gerald, go back and fucking rescue the goddamn kids, will you? Right. So he went back, and let's not let the kids drown on the first visitation.
First outing. We got dead kids.
Yeah, no shit. So September 11th, 1980, Gerald called Virginia at Claire's house, at Virginia's mom's house, and said, hey, I got some good news for you. This guy who sells me hay all the time, he has a flatbed trailer that he'll loan you to get your shit from New Jersey back to Wyoming, because he's got to take something back east, and then it's going to be empty coming back west. So you can borrow it if you want. And she said, shit, yeah, she couldn't afford to get all of her stuff from New Jersey. So she said, that's cool. He said, well, tell you what, the next day, he's like, I'm off on this day. So you drop the boys off, and we'll go bird hunting. And, we'll talk about that shit too, the trailer and all that kind of thing. So they go to these roads. It's Tunnel and Williams Road at the corner. And it's about a half mile from Alice and Gerald's place. But over there. So Alice still doesn't want Virginia on the property. So that's where they have to meet to drop off.
Jesus Christ.
So it's pretty fucking ridiculous. So she was happy, and she told her mom, Virginia did, hey, oh my God, Gerald just offered to give me a trailer. Isn't that cool? She said, I can get my ship back from New Jersey. Claire was like, why would he be nice to you? He doesn't do you any favors.
Right.
That's fucking crazy. And she said, I can't imagine Gerald doing me any favors, but if I can get a trailer that won't cost me anything, fuck it. I need to.
Right.
So she said she was planning on calling a lawyer the next morning to start paperwork for more money, but she's going to give him a little more time now because she wants this trailer. So she said, she told her mom that, Virginia said, yeah, bring the boys along when we talk about it, and I'll take them bird hunting. And Gerald had asked her to bring that old .22 rifle for the kids, right? So Claire said, you're shooting birds with a .22?
Right. How are you going to...
That's weird. Yeah, she said, that's strange, but I guess if that's what you want to do, she didn't want to piss Virginia off, who seemed to be in a good mood. So Claire went and bought a box of .22 shells for the rifle there. And they go outside after lunch. They see Gerald. They're shooting guns. They're hanging out. They're going to be excited for this. So they do that. They get in the car. They go there. She's got a country squire station wagon, by the way. She's driving.
Is that a Chrysler? What is that?
It's a country squire. I think a Plymouth, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. So Claire gives her $5 for gas. Says, "Have a good one." This is September 12th, 1980. Virginia pulls up with the boys. Gerald's already there. His truck isn't there, though. He's just standing there, just standing on the side of the road. So Virginia pulls up. Gerald hops in the passenger seat, says hi to the boys. They're all excited. Gerald said he knows exactly where he wants to stop and shoot. So they go up. It's up around a big bend where there's an irrigation canal, passes under a bridge and all this shit. So it's a natural bowl, no houses nearby, good place for shooting. So it's like, this is going to be fun here. So they go out here. Gerald said, here, there it is. Virginia pulls off on the shoulder of the road here. And, they start getting ready to go down and get set somewhere to go shoot. And Richard and Reagan, the kids, they wanted to start shooting. They're arguing about who gets the first shot and all that kind of thing. But Gerald said, I still have to put the rifle together. It's a collapsible, and I'm going to test fire it first, and then you guys have it. So Gerald puts the gun together and loads it, and the boys are all excited, obviously. Super, yay, this is great. So Gerald fires a couple of shots into the salt sage there, and just shooting just to see if it wouldn't jam and all that kind of thing. So Virginia's standing there. She's looking off into the distance across the road. And Gerald turns around, puts the gun to the back of her head, and shoots her.
Oh, my God.
Right in front of the two kids. Back of her head. Pow. 22 rifle to the back of the head.
And they watched it.
She dropped right there. She wasn't even expecting it. Pow. Richard, who's 11, has some bullets sitting on the tailgate, fucking around with the bullets, not paying any attention because they were shooting. So shots going off, doesn't even look. So Gerald comes over and shoots him behind the left ear.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he shot the kid, shot an 11-year-old who fell over. Reagan ran away. He saw this, and he ran away. He ran toward the canal screaming. He fell over into the water. Gerald walked behind him, shot him right behind the ear.
Jesus.
Just stalked him like he was a horror movie character.
Yeah.
Like Jason Voorhees.
Jason. Yeah.
And just fucking, boop, executed the kid right behind the ear.
Oh, my God.
Shoots him. So he shot all three of them. So this is insane. So Gerald now has, his two adopted sons and his ex-wife and their bodies here. So he takes them, puts them in the back of the station wagon. And he said that he didn't notice that when he put Virginia in, the wound in her head was really pouring out a lot of blood here. He just threw her in and wanted to get him home before somebody came by. So he's trying to think, did I leave any clues? There's a blood stain on the side of the road. What do I do there? Is it going to rain soon? So that'll go away. He didn't know what to do here. So he's like, okay, what do I do? By the way, there was never any trailer to borrow. There was never any of that shit.
None of it.
None of it.
The whole plan.
Whole thing was a setup. So he said that he was also happy. He had a .45 that belonged to his dad in his belt, but he didn't have to use that. He didn't want to have to use that. He wanted to use their gun. So because that was a family heirloom. Hit the .45. He didn't want to have to throw it away.
Yeah.
So yeah, he didn't want to have to destroy that. He was also happy he didn't even get any blood on his jeans. He was wearing his good jeans. So
these are my clean Wranglers.
He then calculated that he just saved himself just under $14,000 that it would have cost him in child support before the youngest was an adult. He added it up.
Post-murder, he's just doing math.
He's doing math, which is like my joke that I have, my stand-up joke. He's doing math. It's the exact joke.
Saved money on life joke.
Yep.
Wow.
He did my joke, but then instead of like leaving as the point to it, he killed everybody. He did the math. It's crazy.
And then justified it by savings.
Wow. Yeah. So he drove them back to his house. Alice was at her parents' trailer playing cards because she's in on the whole thing. This is just in case her parents got suspicious or anything. She wanted to keep them at bay so they didn't come to the house. So Gerald comes with the station wagon and parks it on the other side of where his in-laws are there. So he then takes the boys, picks them up, their bodies, puts them in the pickup bed, then takes Virginia and pulls her out, takes her to the truck's tailgate. And he said, oh, my God, there's blood all over the car, all over. It's all staining the cargo mat, the floorboards, the back of the seat. He was like, holy shit. So he tried to hose it out of the car, but it made it worse.
Yeah, that shit spreads, man.
So he just said, fuck it. Who cares? He gets some empty feed sacks from the barn, puts the bodies in the feed sacks, weighs them down with rocks and shit, and puts them in the back of the truck.
Oh, God.
Okay. Holy shit. This is fucking crazy. So he hides the station wagon behind the pig barn, and he went to get a Weatherby hunting rifle and a shotgun, which he would, always have on the rack there. He wanted to have them. He stopped at his in-laws' trailer on the way to the property and said he was going sage chicken hunting to give himself an alibi. He grabbed the guns. I was like, I got these guns. I'm going sage chicken hunting. And they were like, whatever, cool. So they didn't care. So by 2:30, he's taken off. This is broad daylight, afternoon. He goes to the back roads so nobody sees in the back of his truck, obviously. He wants to top off his tank, get some gas because he doesn't want to run out of gas with dead people. So he didn't know what to do. So he was trying to find a station that was self-serve. So, nobody would, fucking guy wouldn't come up.
Leaning at the truck bed for too long.
Yeah, just chatting with you. So nice weather we're having.
You got a lot of feed in the back of your truck. What are you feeding them?
Jesus Christ. So the pump ended up being jammed at the place he found. So he was going to go get back in the car and drive away. But the teenage kid who worked there came out.
Yeah.
And he was like, shit. So he was like, I guess since the kid's here, he didn't say anything yet. He let the kid pump the gas while he stood there. And there's blood dripping out of the bed of the truck onto the ground. So the kid says, hey, you got a leak or something? And he pointed under the bed there.
Yeah.
So Gerald said, a transmission fluid. I'm leaking transmission fluid.
That's what's red. Yeah.
So the kid fucking went in and got him a bottle of transmission fluid, which doesn't look like blood, by the way, and was like, oh, here you go. Gerald paid for it. Here you go. Yeah, take that. Great. Sounds good. Meanwhile, Virginia's still bleeding from her head wound.
Right.
And it's all over the place. So it's ugly, man. Really, really ugly here. So he tops off his tank at another place and all this shit. So he hides it. He goes to the Hidden Hand mine. That's where he thinks he's going to hide it. It's a 1800s mine, basically. It was all the way out here. So he thought about where to put them. He hadn't really, he only decided to do this like a week before. So he hadn't really had the dismount planned yet.
Yeah.
He was going to throw them in the waste dump at U.S. Steel because that just gets all burned up and shit.
Yeah, but you work there.
Yeah, he said if someone saw him dumping them, that could be a problem. So he said I could incinerate them at the mine in the 2,200-degree blast furnace, which I know how to operate. But he said there's human flesh smells a certain way, so people are going to notice that this isn't like industrial waste. So he said I could dump them in a burning underground coal seam out by the village of Hudson. There's an underground coal fire burning. Yeah. So he's like, I could do that. He said, but if something went wrong, there was no way to go down there and fix it. I couldn't go get them and move them or anything. So he then said, I can cut them up and feed them to my hogs little by little. Oh, God. Do it Deadwood style. He said, but then he would have to butcher them on the kitchen table. He'd have to collect the teeth and all this type of shit and destroy them too. He goes, then he'd be searching. He said he'd be searching around his hog pen for teeth, and what if he lost one? And it's a lot. So he said, what if I barbecued them?
Oh, God, Jesus.
Then he said, no, he didn't want to eat them, so he didn't know what to do with that. He said he could barbecue them like regular meat scraps and do it like that. But he found the Hidden Hand mine, and he said nobody's around. You could see 5 miles in every direction. Not a goddamn soul around. So he backs up. He drags the 3 bodies out of the bed and throws them into a deep, dark hole in the mine. He then climbed down into the bottom of the mine, which is about 20 feet down, and dragged them to another area there.
Away from line of sight?
Away from line of sight. Yeah, he wanted to kind of, because in case deer hunters or somebody came by. So he did all of this and stuffed them in a little area nobody could see. And he said, okay. Also, he had to go back where he killed them to do a scope and see what he left behind. His glasses fell off, so he had to grab Richard's glasses, put them in his pocket. He went back and threw them in the mine, too. So he climbs out of the mine, does all of this shit. He's worried about, he thinks maybe he'll steal some dynamite and collapse the mine. He's like, I can steal some dynamite from work and collapse this mine. He said, but then someone might come and pick through it if I do that.
Somebody might hear that. And
You're drawing attention to this shit. So he goes, that feels like overkill. It's probably best to just leave them there and hope nothing happens. So he just walks away.
Wow.
That's it. He's 2 hours away from home. So he goes with the main roads there. He doesn't care if the back of the truck is bloody. He's a hunter. Right. Who cares? Yeah. So he's got to cover it up. He's got to do all this shit now. Now Claire Martin is like, well, where's Virginia? She didn't come home yet. Right. 9 o'clock at night comes around. She's an adult and everything, obviously, but she's like, where the fuck does she have to go?
And where are the boys?
Yeah. She said, maybe she took them out to the boys to grab a burger and maybe to a movie or something, or maybe she's talking to one of her friends or some shit like that. But she calls up Gerald to say, where's Virginia? And he said, what do you mean? I don't know. What are you talking about? He said she never came. And Claire said, well, you were going to bring the boys back, weren't you? And he said, I haven't seen them. They never got here. Okay. So Claire says, what are you talking about? He said, they were supposed to meet me at 2, but they never showed up. I haven't seen them all day. He said, I waited for them a long time at the corner, just like I said, and nobody ever came. So the mother's like, how long did you wait? Maybe she had a breakdown. He said, I was there for at least an hour, maybe longer. So Claire says, are you sure they didn't show up, Gerald? Are you sure?
Nice job, Rosie Rivet.
He said, I haven't seen anything of them at all. Nothing. She said, you didn't see the car in the neighborhood or anything? He said, nothing. He said, I don't know what would have happened. Gerald said, I don't know either. Maybe Virginia changed her plans. She decided that she didn't want to see me. I have no idea.
Claire's not buying it.
Yeah, Claire said, I don't think so. She said, I'm going to close the laundry up. I think I'm going to get a friend to go out and look around with me. Okay.
Calling all dog owners. Your furry friend deserves top-notch nourishment, and Ollie delivers the clean, fresh nutrition your dog needs in 5 flavors they'll absolutely flip over. Ollie is made in U.S. kitchens with ingredients carefully sourced from trusted growers and producers around the world, with absolutely no harmful fillers or preservatives. With protein-first recipes like fresh beef with sweet potatoes, fresh turkey with blueberries, or fresh lamb with cranberries, you might start thinking, dang, my dog eats better than I do. And that's probably true when it comes to Ollie. Give your pup a fresh start this new year by letting them taste test a personalized meal plan with Ollie. Head to ollie.com/Wondery. Tell them all about your dog and use code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a clean bowl guarantee on the first box. So if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/Wondery and enter code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie.
Creating really great retail experiences is tough, especially with multiple stores, teams of staff, fulfillment centers, separate workflows. It's a lot. But with Shopify Point of Sale, you can do it all without complexity. And let's face it, acquiring new customers is expensive. With Shopify POS, you can keep shoppers coming back with personalized experiences and first-party data that give marketing teams a competitive edge. In fact, it's proven, based on a report from EY, businesses on Shopify POS see real results, like 22% better total cost of ownership and benefits, equivalent to an 8.9% uplift in sales on average relative to the market set surveyed. Want more? Check out at shopify.com/Wondery. All lowercase, and learn how to create the best retail experiences without complexity. Shopify.com/Wondery.
Okay. So Gerald said, sure, I'll help you too.
Yeah, I want to go out there and step on blood stains and
he
make
said,
sure you don't see them.
why don't I come to town and pick you up and we'll go looking for her together, right? So, she said, that's not really necessary. I can do that. I'm sure she just changed her plans. And he said, no, I'm here. I'll go look for him. I don't care. I'll just go do that. And so then Claire said, I guess I'll come with you. And he said, okay, I'll come in town and pick you up. So she calls her friend Marie and asks Marie to drive around to help search for Virginia as well, and all this type of shit. So Claire tells her friend about this phone call with Gerald and all this shit. And Marie says, that son of a bitch did something to them. Claire didn't think so. Claire was like, no, my daughter's a flake, is what she thought. She literally was like, my daughter takes off sometimes. Like, I don't, she can be flaky at times. So finally around 11 o'clock, though, they definitely go out and search. Gerald never showed up, though.
Really? To
help them search. So they go out on their own. They drive all around. They're looking for the car, is all it is. They're looking for the station wagon. Mm-hmm. And they even went over to Gerald's house, and he said, nope, I never saw him. They never came. Don't know what you're talking about. They went to the hospital. Not at the hospital. They went to the drive-in movie theater. They're not there. They called the both movie theaters in town. Nobody had seen them. So there's only like 5 things to do in town, so you can just call all of them to see if they were there. That's
the bummer of as a murderer in a town like that. You can't. It's hard to have a person disappear with that few people.
2 movies, a couple of restaurants, a laundromat. There's really nowhere.
Somebody's seen her. Yeah,
you can call everywhere and find out where in a hospital. She wasn't at the bar. They found out. She looked at bars too, not at the bars. Never anything. It's really weird. So Gerald said that, he still says, I don't know. I haven't seen her. So there's a missing person report now. Mm-hmm. By the next day, mid-morning, she goes to the sheriff's office, and there's a young deputy asking the normal questions, height, weight, hair color, all that kind of shit. It's a Ford Country Squire, by the way.
Oh.
73 Ford, brown Country Squire. It's brown,
a station
too.
Wagon, huh?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Station wagon, license plate, fucking 221331. So they fill it out. They said in additional information, it says that Virginia and her 2 sons were last seen going hunting with her ex-husband and had a .22 rifle in the car. Okay. Which is, that sounds suspicious right there.
Sure does.
So he said, well, I'll hold on to it till tomorrow. Then I'll come over and we'll go over it. Claire says, you're not going to search or anything? You're not going to help us search? And the deputy said, no, I'm going to file this. I don't know what you're talking about. He said, instead of searching for your family, we'll try to first find the car. Okay. And Claire says, don't the people in the car matter? And the guy says, that's not the way we do it. We look for the car first because where the car is, that's probably where the people are.
Right. People sometimes can get taken somewhere, but that car, it's harder to get rid of a car than a body.
A Country Squire? Fuck yeah, that thing weighs 6 tons. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's a huge car. Get rid of that thing.
It's a lot of steel.
You're not burying it. So
no.
She said, well, you don't know what happened to them at this point. You have no idea. How do you know that it's the car? You could find the car empty somewhere. Then what? My family's still missing. I don't fucking care about the car. You can forget the car. I don't give a shit. Don't even look for the car. Look for the people, is what she's saying.
I don't want it back.
And she suggested places to search for the car, but the deputy said, well, we'll just have to wait till we find the car. And she said, wait, you can't look for the car until you find the car? And he said, well, kind of. Think about that, how frustrating that would be. Holy shit. Think about how frustrating that would be.
Oh, God, I'd lose my mind.
Are you kidding me? So
say car one more time, officer. I swear to fuck.
I'll fucking double dog dare you to say car one more motherfucking time. Turn into Samuel Jackson and shit. So she said, well, why don't you start out at sand draw? And Virginia and Gerald used to take the kids looking for rocks. The kids used to love it. Why don't you look out there? So they said, maybe Virginia. Then she said, maybe it's a suicide. Maybe Virginia got into an argument with Alice and couldn't take it. And maybe she killed herself and the boys with a .22 rifle. She could be dead out there right now. Yeah, anything's possible.
Listen, when we find the car, we'll find out.
He said, look, ma'am. Now, number one, when you go off on a big, long thing and a deputy's answer is, look, ma'am, they're not doing shit for you and they think you're an idiot.
Yeah.
He said, we have it all covered. We'll look everywhere. In other words, you're a moron. You don't know anything. She said, how about Dickinson Park Road? He said, why would we search all the way up there? Search everywhere. There's 2 kids missing. What are we talking? And a woman. What are we doing here? She said, we used to picnic up there a lot. We didn't even know there was a road up that mountain until Gerald showed us. He used to take us there on picnics and take the boys through the woods, fishing and all that shit. So maybe there. Maybe he killed her. Maybe she decided to kill herself. Maybe she killed herself and her kids are sitting in the middle of the woods somewhere. We have no idea. Let's figure it out.
Going on and on about death. Why don't you worry about that car? It's a pretty good car.
I mean, let's worry about that car. We'll get that car back. We'll make sure there's no trouble. Transmission, carburetor, everything works fine. And then if we can find the boys and your daughter, we'll work on that later.
Does the thing have a 302 in it?
It's a decent car. I'm not going to lie to you, ma'am. That's a good car. I used to have one. So she said, I'm not going to sit here waiting for you to do this. This is fucking ridiculous. And so she went home, put together posters with the pictures on it, and put shit all over the town. She hung them in every shop in town. A few days later, the deputy stopped by at Gerald and Alice's place. They weren't home. He just wandered around. Nothing looked unusual except maybe he wrote down some fresh concrete in the well house, but he didn't make even a report of it. Just nothing. He just said, that's all. Nothing here. So the next day, Gerald wakes up and burns all of his clothes and blankets from Virginia's car in his trash barrel. He rummages through Virginia's purse, which has, IDs and checkbook and all that kind of shit.
Shit.
He burns everything except for $27 she had in her wallet, keeps that. Also takes Virginia's granddad's the .22 rifle and takes that out and breaks that up and burns it too.
Yeah.
He said he loved the gun, but he couldn't get busted with it. Just couldn't do it. So had to get rid of it there. He buried the stock out in a dry creek bed near his house. He went to dig it up later, but he forgot where it was and couldn't find it. So he threw the
hiding spot.
Yeah, he threw the car keys out the window in the dark the day before. He left the glasses with the body. He washed the bloody mud out of his truck, hid the station wagon and the license plates, which we'll find out where they were, and all that, and he got paid $27 for doing it.
That's a lot of work for $27. But, James, that's his own. I guarantee he found that 27 and said, this is mine. This
Probably, yeah.
I gave her this anyway.
That's what I mean. He said that he just had to keep telling lies and he'd be okay. He just needed to keep Claire shut the fuck up was the main thing. Because without Claire, no one will care. So on September 20th, Claire's trailer, there's a delivery there from the mailman, and it says it's from V.U. Martin, which is that's Virginia Martin, but Virginia Uden Martin, which that's not the way she addresses, puts things on.
Hyphenate her name or anything.
She doesn't do any of that. So, and it's addressed to C. Martin, which is mom here. Yeah. And it just says, Mom, I'm sorry I've worried you. I am in trouble. The boys are okay. Cover for me. Say I'm in California. Will write when possible. So Claire's like, whoa, okay. Well, it's good. She feels like everybody's alive now anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's good. But, it's still worrisome because there's different things that she doesn't think that they would talk like that. So
yeah, and real formal address and all that shit.
Real formal. That same night about 10:30 in Riverton, a citizen calls the cops and says there's an unshaven, dirty-looking guy smoking a cigarette in a red pickup truck parked a block west of the laundromat on Federal Boulevard. He said this guy is doing something. I see binoculars in there once in a while. Something's going on. So a cop comes up, and when the cop pulls up the street, he ducks down. The driver ducks down in the seat. Cop then goes up to the car, and it's Gerald in the truck.
Unshaven, smoking a cigarette.
Unshaven, smoking. Cop pats him down and finds a lead weight attached to a short yellow rope in his coat pocket.
Huh.
And the cop said, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And he said, it's for my protection. And the cop said, from what? And he said, I think my ex-wife is in the laundry. She ran up some gambling debts in the casinos in New Jersey, and there's mafia people around looking for her.
So I got a makeshift mace in my pocket?
You'd have to owe a lot of money for people to come from New Jersey to Wyoming to look for you. If you're down like $80 on the slots, no one's making a trip out to the middle of nowhere for that shit. So,
and you think a guy that's coming from Atlantic City that's connected you're going to defend yourself with a lead weight on a yellow rope?
On a yellow rope. So the cop is like, okay, I don't get this. I don't understand what's going on. He said, though, but it's against the law in Riverton to carry a concealed weapon of any kind.
Oh.
That's a concealed weapon. And so Gerald is ticketed and released. He pays a $25 fine. Nobody puts anything together, though. It doesn't ring in the cop's head because it's a different department that he was sitting with a weapon a block away from his ex-mother-in-law's house who was breaking balls with the cops to try to get his wife found, who he's the last one he saw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. 2 days later, a typed letter arrives in Claire's mailbox as well. And it said, the postmark said it had been mailed from Riverton the day before, but there's no return address. And it says, Mom, I hope I haven't worried you too much. Am in trouble. It's best if you don't know about it. I had to leave in a hurry. There wasn't time to tell you. Last Wednesday, I stopped at a drugstore in Illinois long enough to buy some things. I gave one of the clerks some money to send you a message. Hope you got it. I couldn't take time to do it myself. She says, we're with friends in Pennsylvania now. You don't know them. I think we'll be all right for a while. I have money for now. That's why I'm in trouble. I'm sending you this in a way that can't give away my location. They might be watching you. It's safer for you if you don't know exactly where we are right now. If anyone asks, tell them we're in California. I need to figure out how to get our things and money from our house in New Jersey and how to get support money. When I do, I'll let you know. We're safe, but I'll have to keep going. You know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Then she signs it Virginia. Claire said she never signs anything to me with her full name. It's always Gin or Ginny, not Virginia. Mm-hmm. So she's like, that's fucking strange. So she takes that to the cops, and the cops go, well, that's pretty, who cares what she wrote it by? Her signature's on it, though. She has her name Virginia, then her signature under it. And he says, that's her signature, right? And Claire said, well, yeah, it's her signature, but she wouldn't have said that. They go, well, then she signed a letter. That doesn't make any sense. She signed the letter. It's from your daughter. She's alive. Be happy. I don't know what to tell you. So there's that. So, later that day, Claire gets a phone call from someone saying their name is Joyce Johnson from Illinois, saying that Virginia had borrowed enough money from her to get to New Jersey and made her promise to call Claire and the cops to settle their fears. Nothing to worry about. Everybody's safe.
That doesn't seem suspicious at all.
That's all. Yeah. So at that point, there's a missing persons report. It says fucking report canceled on it. That's
really?
That.
They
Case
squash
closed.
it with that?
Case closed. Couple days later, another letter arrives. This one from an address in Illinois, but no postmark. It was handwritten, so it didn't get mailed, just got dropped off. It was handwritten and not signed. And it contained two urgent letters here that Claire had sent to Virginia here. And it says, enclosed are two telegrams that have been sent to my address. There is one by the name of V.U. Martin at this address. A lady came in the place where I work and asked if I would send this telegram for her. She gave me the money and message and left. That was my only contact. I would appreciate no further messages be sent to this address. It is very annoying. Thank you. Because it was the Illinois return address. She had sent something back.
Oh.
So she got somebody to go look at this house, but it's a vacant house in Illinois at the address that the letters were supposedly sent some. But the last tenant of the address was easy to track down. It was a woman named Thea Thomas. So the agents in Illinois, Division of Criminal Investigation, went and talked to Thea Thomas, and they said, do you know V.U. Martin? And she said, no. They said, did you send a mailgram to Claire Martin? She said, yes. She said, why? They said, why'd you send it? And she said, because her mother had called and asked her to do it. Did she say why? Because she had, and this woman says, because she had a friend in trouble and needed to get a message to her in the form of a telegram. And they said she signed it V.U. Martin. That's all she knows. So she said she got some telegrams from Claire Martin. So she said, that's why she said she sent the things to say, stop sending me shit. I just sent you a letter, which is interesting. Very odd. So then she said she called her mom, this girl, Thea, said she called her mom mad that she'd been dragged into some weird sham thing about missing people she never met. Her mom promised to visit the sheriff and straighten everything out. Her mom is Alice, by the way. This is Alice's fucking daughter that sent this letter.
Oh, no.
This is not good. So that same day, Gerald and Alice go to the sheriff's office in Fremont County of their own accord. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to need us to explain some shit. We know that already. They confess to sending bogus telegrams and letters to Claire, but not to having anything to do with the disappearance of Virginia and the boys. Alice denied being Joyce Johnson from Illinois, the caller there, but she said that Alice was weeping at the police station. She said that she finagled a sham correspondence without Gerald or Thea's knowledge because she believed Claire was trying to frame them for a crime. She said, I just tried to get these people to stop framing me. So, by the way, Gerald and Alice had just bought a few acres of land in Oregon, and they were hoping to move there soon, but they didn't tell the cops that. So Gerald said that he told the cops that he said Virginia never showed up for the hunting trip, and Claire, he said, I think Claire's the one you should be looking at, because people usually kill their adult daughters. That's normal. Right.
Also, why aren't you concerned for these boys? Why are you not losing your fucking mind?
Well, yeah. And he said, quote, she was the last person to see them alive.
What?
And the cops are like, don't like the way that was worded.
Yeah,
okay.
Say that.
So a couple days after this, while this is all going on, by the way, her car is being seen repeatedly by people.
Really?
He put the station wagon at by Trout Creek Canyon, and some woodcutter and his wife spotted it off the road. They walked around, but it was locked, had no license plates, no keys in the ignition, no people, no sign of people. So the husband of this couple tied a piece of fluorescent surveyor's tape on a branch to mark the spot so they could, tell people. Yeah. When they got back to town, they called the sheriff's office to report an abandoned vehicle on Dickinson Park Road. Yeah. Which is one of the places that Claire said to go look. The dispatcher said, thanks a lot, and they didn't even look at it. They did nothing.
Appreciate it.
A week later, a tribal cop on patrol stumbled upon the station wagon here. He saw an old grocery bag stuffed in the gas filler, like, in the thing, partly burned, like someone put it in there, tried to blow it up, tried to make a Molotov cocktail. He also saw a stain in the back. He called the reservation office, filed a report. Nobody followed up on it.
These cops are amazing.
They're doing great. Well, I don't know. Cars get lost sometimes. You know how that is.
Sounds like it might be a murder. I don't want to be involved in that.
That sounds like a lot of paperwork, I'm telling you right now.
You're going to have to testify and shit. No, thank you.
So October 4th, this is more than 3 weeks after the murder here, a rancher and his 11-year-old son are looking for stray cows, and they saw something glistening in the sun there, glint off of glass, and they found the station wagon, partly covered up with pine boughs now. The father opened one of the doors, and the dome light lit up. So they went back to the town and reported the car to the sheriff. This time, this is the third reported sighting here, they finally went out there. The sheriff told the rancher to look out when he drove in that area and take his dogs. That's all he said. Could be dangerous. So the sheriff sent a deputy and one of his sergeants up there. It's exactly where the rancher said. It's stuck on a rock. He drove it up there till he got stuck, basically. Yeah. It was unlocked. The windows were rolled up with no keys. It was locked before. Now it's unlocked. They said an old title in the glove box confirmed it was Claire Martin's car. So they found it. So they searched the car and found no signs of violence, no blood, no clothing. They looked all around but didn't find anything except like busted taillight shards. Right. So without any printing, forensics, luminol, anything, they tow it and just drop it off at Claire's house. They just drop it off.
Remember how you wanted this car? We found it. Here you go.
Oh, yeah. So incriminating evidence that could be there, fucked now.
Yeah.
Fucked. So Unbelievable. They should have probably kept that car at crime scene. Claire opened up the tailgate, immediately saw a stray piece of raw wood in the spare tire box that hadn't been there before. So there's that. Also, a roll of duct tape, an unfamiliar cardboard box back there, too. Otherwise, she didn't notice anything. She opened the front passenger door, looked around. There's some popsicle sticks around. That's from the boys, probably. Didn't see anything else. She pulled out an empty cardboard ammo box, and she said, Jesus Christ, there's a fucking empty box of shells in a missing woman's car, and they didn't even look at that. So then she looked around in the back seat, didn't see much. Then looking real close up against the back seat, there's a faint brownish stain. And then she saw a few splatters of something dark on the back seat. Looks like blood, but she didn't know. She called the sheriff's office. A couple of county detectives come out. And they say, show us what you saw. Jesus. She said she felt like it was a courtesy call. Like they're, humoring her.
Put your mind at ease. It's fine.
So she pointed out, that looks like blood to me on the tailgate. And they looked inside and didn't say anything. Then she opened the rear passenger door and said, and here, I'm sure this is blood here too. And here, pointing out everything. Once she points out 3 or 4 spots, the detective said, okay, don't touch anything.
Yeah.
Let's do that here.
Definitely not Coca-Cola. Hold.
Yeah. Fucking not good. So under the cargo mat was a circular smear of something that looked like diluted old dried blood that somebody tried to wipe away. So they're like, oh boy, what's going on? She unlatches the back seat, tips it forward so they could look underneath. Down in the crack where the seat. So she's leading a forensic examination.
With no gloves, just
ridiculous.
Just folding shit up and opening.
And it's not her fault. She's the only one doing anything.
Right.
So fuck, it's the cops should be in there with gloves on doing this. So you could see that blood had dribbled down there as well. Finally, they told her, stand back, don't touch anything, stop it, just fucking stop it. They call the tow truck back to tow it now to the police station. So now they're looking at it forensically here. And they found a shitload. Blood on the cargo area's tailgate plate. Blood splashed on the seat back and passenger door. Blood splattered inside a grocery box. Biological material leaked down under the back seat. Blood stains in the rear cargo mat that someone tried to wash out. Blood under the mat. Fingerprints that they could shitloads everywhere. They didn't have Virginia's or the boys' prints for comparison. And since the car's been there, maybe a dozen or so people have touched it. Yeah. Including tribal cop, that cop, a rancher, a fucking woodcutter, a hunter. Fucking the Smurfs have been there touching it. Yeah, some guy humped the gas cap. I don't know what's going on. So, but there's a lot of, the blood's human. It matches Virginia's type A. They don't have DNA yet, obviously. And they said it's a lot of shit here, but where are they still? That doesn't help any. So November 5th, 1980, Gerald and Alice's 4th wedding anniversary. Nice, sweet. Gerald's got something else to do, though. He's worried that someone's going to find these bodies. So he said he needed to make sure they would never be found now that the car's been found.
Oh, boy.
So he hitched his boat to his pickup one morning, loaded a couple of old barrels and an empty 55-gallon grease drum, and a 35-gallon galvanized trash barrel, both with holes in them from target practice, put them in the boat and drove to work. After work, which was past midnight, he drove out to Hidden Hand, climbed down in the mine with his flashlight, crawled into where the boys were and Virginia, and fucking found them. This is 8 weeks of warm weather, so they were obviously rotting and covered in maggots and all sorts of shit. Eyeballs pecked out, you name it. It's all there.
Lord.
So one by one, he put them in black plastic trash bags and stuck them and got them out of the hole so he could put them with a rope connected to his truck bumper. He can put them in. He made like a pulley system to get them out. So then he crammed Virginia's remains into a 55-gallon drum and the 2 boys together in the smaller one and wired the lids shut. He he strapped the barrels to his boat so they wouldn't tip over. Oh, man. About 3:30 in the morning, he went to Fremont Lake, which was where they went and pushed the kids out. It's very, very deep. Like I said, 450-foot lake here. This is crazy. He gets a 450-foot he gets a 450-foot sounding line with a 10-pound steel bar and nylon rope, and transfers the barrels to his boat. He reaches his boat, goes out toward the center of the lake, and dumps them out.
Drops them in.
Once they sunk, he came back, he got home, and Alice told him, "You smell like death warmed over."
Gross.
So the sheriff now sent 75 deputies and volunteers up to Dickinson Park to search for any evidence near where the car was found, which doesn't help. I mean, Claire came. She brought shovels. She offered to pay for food or any equipment the searchers needed, but they just wanted her to go away.
All right.
Just, don't be yelling at us, basically. And then a volunteer asked her to borrow a shovel, and she got pissed off, which is funny. So at one point, somebody showed a coat that they found to Virginia or to Claire, and she said, "That's Virginia's coat. It has to be. It was the right size and color. It seemed all right." So okay, she was here. We found her coat. Right. So on November 14th, they call in Alice and Gerald to the sheriff's office for interviews.
Have a chat.
Have a little chit chat here. They read the Miranda rights. Mm-hmm. They said they asked Alice, "Did Virginia indicate that she wanted more child support money at any time?" Alice said no. They said, "Why did you instruct your daughter to write bogus letters to Claire?" She said, "I thought Virginia and Claire were up to something, and I wanted to see what it was." They said, "Why do you want to move to Oregon all of a sudden?" She said, "It's not sudden. My mom doesn't like Wyoming and wants to live in Oregon, so we bought some land there. But my dad doesn't want to move to Oregon, so the idea is tabled for now. Someday maybe, but not now." Mm-hmm. They said, "What was Gerald doing outside the laundry when he was arrested with a weapon?" And she said, "Gerald's a different kind of guy. I don't know what he was doing."
Who knows? Maybe ask him.
He's my husband, but I don't know shit about him. So he said, "Tell me about the day Virginia and her boys disappeared." She says, "Gerald drove out to the corner and waited, but she didn't show up." So she said, "So he came back in 20 or 30 minutes and started to work on our addition at the house. Uh-oh. I went to town for groceries, and when I came back, it was still light out, but they hadn't shown up." So, yeah, she said that
he was there for an hour, so that's a different story.
That's different. Mm-hmm. They said, "Would you be willing to take a polygraph test, a lie detector?" She said, "No, it's just a matter of principle. Maybe I would if it was the last resort, but not right now."
What?
And the cop said, "Well, when would it be the last resort then?"
Right.
There's missing children and women here. They said, "Well, what do you think happened to Virginia and her sons?" And she said, "I have no idea." Then she launched into a huge diatribe about what a piece of shit Virginia was. She's a welfare queen, conniving ex-wife, detached mother, horrible person. You're terrible. She's this, she's that. But no, she kept saying she wouldn't take a polygraph on principle. Wouldn't do it. So Matthews, this is the guy, the detective, he finally says, "You know what I think? I think you didn't do anything, but you got caught up in the middle of things. You and Gerald knew you had to do something, so you took Virginia's body and stuffed it somewhere. And you took her car up on the mountain and tried to conceal it there and had Thea write that telegram to throw us off. Does that sound about right?"
Not bad for a guy that did shitty police work.
Right? Not terrible. She said, "I understand why you think like that. I know what you're saying. But, I didn't do anything." And now she's crying and all this type of shit. But 4 hours go by and she won't give up a fucking thing. Other than, I thought they were up to something. So they bring in Gerald. Let's try Gerald. They say, "Gerald, he's a yapper. Maybe he'll say something." So they said, "Gerald, we brought you down here to talk about Virginia and the boys, obviously." He said, "I already told you the truth. I've done nothing wrong." Okay. So he said, "Gerald, I think you killed them all. I think you hid them someplace, dumped the car, tried to cover the tracks with letters from fake people." And they said that Gerald hung his head and shuffled his feet. He kept
That's a good, damn good analysis, boys.
Busted. Kept crossing and uncrossing his legs. This is all not good body language for this type of shit. At one point, he started shaking so badly he couldn't talk for a few minutes.
Oh.
So they poured him a cup of coffee. Said, maybe that'll calm your shakiness down. So, yeah, he said that this is what he regains his composure. And Gerald said, quote, "You don't really have a case because you don't have a body or a murder weapon." He no body, no crimed him.
He sure did.
No body, no crime. Well, hey. He did. He fucking did it.
You got a murder weapon? You got a body? I'll be going home.
Yep. He said, even if I did and I didn't, you couldn't arrest me because you got no body. He said, even if I did, fuck you. Which is not true, as we found out.
Right.
Not true at all.
He is stonewalling him, though.
Wow. So the cop said, well, you could be indicted for murder or kidnapping, but if you're innocent, like you say, prove it to me.
Yeah.
So Gerald says, how? Matthew says, show me your innocence. I just as soon prove you innocent as guilty. I'd rather eliminate you if you didn't do it. So he said, but we have to get to the bottom of this. You got to tell me something. Just prove you didn't do it. Take a polygraph. And Gerald said, no polygraph. It's not a matter of my guilt or innocence. It's a matter of principle.
They
went in. Yeah, they went in with that right away. We're not going to take a polygraph. That's that. So Gerald said, I thought you said someone tried to burn it up, the car. And they said, yeah, it looked like that. Then Gerald said, that would have been a dumb thing to do. And the cop said, why is that, Gerald?
Yeah.
And he said, by looking at those pictures, you could see town below and people could have seen the fire. And then the cop looked at the photos and he said, Gerald, you can't see town in any of these pictures.
Oh, shit.
But from up there, you can see town, but not in the pictures.
Yeah.
So Gerald looked again and he said, well, I heard it on the news and I know where that's at and I know you can see town. I've been up there before.
Yeah, we know you have.
Yeah. But Matthews said nobody had ever told Gerald exactly where the car was found, like exactly. So how would he know? So maybe he heard it on the street or whatever. Yeah. So Gerald starts rambling. He's talking about how one time he contemplated suicide and how maybe he'll do that now because this is a big pain in the ass. He said, I don't like jails and I'm not going to be confined. He talked about how he tried to love Virginia, but she'd been shitty to him. He said how much he loved the boys, and he said Alice hated Virginia and vice versa. So he's just throwing a lot of conflicting things out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they said, okay, suppose you did kill Virginia and hid the bodies somewhere. Suppose you did that. You must know that they'll be found sometime and you can never have them and raise them. And he said, why can't I? That's what Gerald said. Why can't I? Uh-huh. So that's wild. And he said, well, you'd be tied to this mess because the boys would know if Virginia met you out there that day, which you say she didn't. And he said, not if they didn't tell anyone. I never thought of it that way. So he's like, I could have killed her in front of the boys and they wouldn't have told. Right. Like I wouldn't have had to kill everybody.
And he's also fishing for what they know about if the boys are dead or not. Because he said, why can't I?
Why can't I? Hour and a half later, the cop sees he's not getting anywhere with this. Yeah. At the end of his notes, though, he writes, it's only my personal feeling, but I could see guilt all over him. I'm convinced he's guilty and covering it up. Now he's paranoid. He carries a .44 caliber pistol around with him just to drive in country roads. Yeah. He thought somebody was following him, so he'll like pull over and wait for the person to come up. He's got his gun ready. Very, very fucking strange stuff here. Gerald worried that Claire had hired a local Indian to get revenge and kill him. What? She didn't, but she said she thought about it, actually, but she didn't.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I could take care of this real quick. So over the next 2 years that go by,
wow,
none of the dots can be connected. Nothing happens. Gerald and Alice hired a lawyer. Lawyer advised them not to answer any questions, so they didn't. They have nothing else to go on. Shit. No further evidence. They can't find the bodies. It's just fucked, basically. It's screwed. So one thing, though, one day at the nurse's office in school, Erica, they found out from back then, her daughter, Alice's daughter, drew an image of a person standing on a box with her head in a noose and cocked up at like a dead angle. Mm-hmm. The cartoon bubble said, help me, and this is when she was 7, and they said, why'd you draw this picture in school? And she said, that happened in the barn. Somebody hung themselves in the barn. So that's weird. Another time, Erica told the nurse that she had a nightmare about two dead boys who were killed and the skin stripped from their bodies.
Good
and then they were
Lord.
Wrapped in blankets and buried in the desert.
Erica.
So Alice, rather than saying, wow, we got to help my daughter, she went to the school, got super angry, and told the principal that no one is to speak to her daughter anymore outside of teaching lessons. Nobody.
What are you teaching my daughter?
They said, what if there's some kind of accident? You don't want the school nurse to look at your daughter? She said, no. If she gets hit by a truck, call the ambulance. Don't let her talk to the nurse. So,
you guys are ruining her.
Another time, Gerald showed up at the sheriff's office with a letter, an anonymous letter he'd received threatening him, an angry citizen. So he said, this is wild. He said, you know, you don't have anything till you find a body, and you're not going to find one.
Okay.
That's what he said in the sheriff's office because people are so sure he did it. And he said, that's ridiculous. Another time, a local hospital administrator told the detective that Gerald had come in specifically to the medical center seeking medical records on Virginia, saying, quote, you know, just in case they find a decomposed body and need to identify her. This is fucking crazy. So in June of 82, a maintenance man at the Riverton sewage plant found a lower denture trapped in a filter pipe.
Uh-oh.
He delivered it to Claire Martin, not to the police. He said, maybe this is your daughter's.
Or yours. I don't know whose it is.
Claire didn't take it to the police either. She took it to the private investigator that she hired.
Not a girl.
A local dentist matched the color and shade of the false teeth that he made for Virginia, but he said it wasn't the same base. And, but Virginia often complained about how they fit, so maybe she went to a different dentist for a different base. Everything's inconclusive. They decide, let's roll the dice and fucking indict these two.
Okay.
So they take them to a grand jury, Gerald and Alice. But there really isn't anything. It's all circumstantial. There's a lot of probablys there, but
those letters are fucking weird.
They're weird. But the problem is, and it's easy to get an indictment. You don't need a lot here. But finally, the prosecutor said, we presented testimony so that you would know what it is we know about this case. I feel probably without some kind of confession at this point or discovering a body or finding an eyewitness that we're never going to get anywhere. So that's what they think. And Gerald and Alice take off. Okay. They take off. They move to Eunice, Missouri.
Yikes.
And, they do that. They have a place there. Gerald, Jesus Christ, this is funny. Alice takes a nursing job. Gerald becomes a house husband, taking care of Erica. Then he gets bored, and a neighbor told him about a truck driving school in Florida to be a long-haul truck driver. So he does that. His CB handle is Cowboy.
Yeah.
Cowboy the Kid Killer over here, and started driving big rigs. And by 87, Alice quit her job and did the same thing so they could go out together.
Wow.
Yep. Gerald also really, you know who he loves? Who's his favorite person? You'll be so surprised. Bob Ross.
What?
The opposite of Clint Eastwood. Bob Ross.
Bob Ross beating the devil out of it?
He loves it. He took a class and he was pretty good at it. And one day, Bob Ross himself visited Gerald's class and posed for a picture with everybody. He was thrilled. Eventually, Gerald became a certified instructor in the wet-on-wet Bob Ross style.
Get out.
Yep, that is fucking amazing. He became a Bob Ross painter and a trucker named Cowboy.
Jesus.
Very well-rounded. And he plays the guitar, too. So, in the 80s here, things are going by. 1985, the bank foreclosed on some vacant land that they had bought. Remember that land in Oregon?
Yeah.
And they went to look for it, but nothing there once it was foreclosed. Then Erica has some memories that she starts talking about here. This is very, very interesting here. She was a sophomore in high school. Gerald hit her for talking back. Children's Services takes her away then.
Yeah.
So she ends up in the Presbyterian Home for Children, which is an orphanage. And Gerald and Alice didn't even care. They took all of her clothes to Goodwill. And when the state of Missouri inquired about, they didn't even inquire about her. And when the state when the state inquired with them, they said, "You want her, you got her." That's what they said.
That's not how this works, you guys.
So it's at this moment where the Wyoming police decide they would like to. They have two juvenile officers from Missouri interview Erica about this, back in the day there. She said she was 8 when this all happened. She said it was weird because usually Richard and Reagan would come over and she would play with them, and she liked it. And that day, she got sent to somebody else's house, and her mom said she didn't want her around them. So weird. She read the police report because she said she never heard much about the case. When she got to the part about the bogus letters to Claire, she said she remembered her mom typing a letter and discussing with Gerald how to sign Virginia's name. Which they knew about already, though.
Yeah.
Then she remembered Gerald removing pictures of the boys from a scrapbook after their disappearance and putting them in a drawer.
Oh, God.
She remembered being hidden from the grand jury. She remembers finding some old Wyoming license plates in the spare tire compartment of her mother's red Pinto and wanting to keep them because they had the bucking horse that we said was so cool. She thought it was neat.
Plates are so rad.
That's why I was bringing that up. And then Alice snatched them away, and she said she never saw them again.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. She said also she remembered after the disappearance, the day after, she went with her parents to a lake where Gerald went off by himself in a boat for a long time. 84, NBC rebroadcast the movie Adam, which is about Adam Walsh, America's Most Wanted kid that started all that. Well, his father did. And at the end, they show photos and descriptions of several missing children, including Reagan and Richard Uden. So there was a few tips, but nothing came of it. In 1986, she wrote to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, America's top military commanders, to inquire whether Richard, who would have been 18, had enlisted in the Army, Navy, or Air Force. Did he fill out his selective services card? Right. Which makes sense, and he hadn't. She sent similar letters to the Secretary of Health and Human Services and to the Social Security Administration trying to find anything. Nothing.
No records of these boys at all.
Nope. 1987, Virginia is declared officially dead. So there's a couple of life insurance policies, a few $1,000s there, and Claire got that and spent it all looking for her there. She's monitoring missing persons networks in the 80s, by mail and phone and all that kind of shit. When she'd see boys that look like they could be a projected older Richard or Reagan, she'd call the cops. Yeah, I mean, it's
God, how nightmare.
It's a fucking nightmare. She sought the help of a psychic. The psychic took deputies to several spots where she had a feeling something bad may have happened. It's the West. A lot of bad stuff happened. So in 1989, Alice sent an angry letter to her then 16-year-old daughter, Erica, at the orphanage, accusing her of colluding with the cops and also playing mind games by talking to them.
Remember that part where you abandoned me? Well, I'm mad now.
Jesus Christ. 1994, Alice's son, Todd, he's the older boy. He said that he knows this cop guy, and he tells him, my mother confessed to being involved in a murder one time.
Oh.
And she said of her husband, Ronald Holtz.
Oh, no.
This comes up. And so the investigators did look into it, but they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find anything there. So 2005, Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation reopens the case. On January 18th, a task force made a visit to Alice's home in Missouri. Gerald was on the road trucking. Alice's interview was fine and dandy until they brought up Ronald Holtz. At that point, they said she, quote, fell out of her chair half fainting.
You thought we were just going to talk about this shit that you didn't do.
Yeah. Then Alice said that the confession they're talking about to her son was actually a tale she told her son as a cautionary tale. That actually happened. She said, in fact, she said, I kicked him out and moved on. That was it. I didn't do anything. So they had really nothing to do, though. They didn't know what they had. All they had was that. So unless she confessed, they really don't have anything. So it stands still again. Finally, by the way, April 4th, 2013, Claire Martin dies at 92 without ever finding out what happened to her daughter. But this might have helped, though, because a few months later, something happens. A barrel with a human skeleton is recovered from the shaft that Todd had told the cops about. It's Ronald.
Yeah.
The back of the skull has a bullet hole. The discovery matches the story that Alice had told about getting rid of the body, too, and the remains are confirmed with DNA to be Ronald Holtz's.
Uh-oh.
She shot him while he was sleeping.
Really?
Yes. So 74-year-old Alice Uden is arrested on September 26, 2013, just a few months after Claire Martin died. They show her all the incriminating evidence, the fucking he didn't leave, it dumped, your kid knows where it is, bullet hole, DNA. And then she said, okay, fine, I did shoot him, but only because he was threatening Erica.
Okay.
So they said, terrific, put your hands behind your back, Grandma. Hope you don't have any peanut butter cookies in the oven because they're going to fucking burn because you're going to be in jail for the rest of your life.
Ruin everything.
Yep. They then talk about, now they got her doing that. They go, maybe she'll talk about Virginia and the kids.
Right.
So they said, did you ever go up and help look for Virginia and the kids? And she said, Gerald did. He contacted the people in New Jersey to find out whether she'd been cashing her checks. I remember that much. So she starts talking about Gerald, but she won't give it up. She won't give anything up. She says that, she says that Virginia was mentally ill. I don't know what she would do. So he, they talk about when he was busted outside Claire's place. And they said, do you know why he had the weapon in his pocket? And she said, it wasn't a weapon. It was a fishing weight. That was hilarious. People look at things and come up with their own ideas. So she has an excuse for everything. Mm-hmm. Then they go, do you watch any of those crime shows on TV? They go, DNA is like,
yeah.
She said sometimes.
Every last one of them, there's fucking everywhere.
And they said, it's getting easier and easier to find it, and you can get it from stuff that was touched now. And a lot of that stuff collected in 1980, but it didn't mean as much then as it does now. We've been here talking about this for a long time, and we really just need the whole thing to be put to rest here. And she said, well, I don't know. I did everything she said, I told you everything. So they talked to Gerald. They're going to talk to him. Alice said, I don't know. They told him, well, we found Gerald and arrested him. Mm-hmm. And she said, quote, there goes that paycheck. Wow.
The truck driving paycheck? It's all
the truck driving paycheck. Yeah, now he's arrested. So they talked to Gerald, like I said, and he's a little bit shifty at first, obviously. Mm-hmm. But Alice gave them really nothing. She didn't really give any story. She said, I don't know about a lot of things and all that kind of shit. Either way, and she also says, Alice says that she had cancer and had chemo and she has no memories. Chemo fucks up her memory. So they said, great. Can you remember that you're charged with first-degree murder now? Because you are.
You are
so there's
a lot
that.
of trouble for your husband.
So they get Gerald in there here, mm-hmm. and Gerald is a little bit freaked out, obviously. The FBI is there, so he doesn't like that. He
How
knows
do you play that? Do you tell him, look, we got your wife, and she told us everything. It's your turn.
Well, he wrote a letter knowing that they were looking for him. He said, Dear ones, if you are reading this, it means that it will be the last letter I will write. It will also serve as goodbye and farewell. Alice and I have been arrested and charged with the murder of Virginia and the boys. Alice is innocent of any wrongdoing. However, sadly, I am not. I'm sorry for the lies and will pay the price probably with my life. I never had any idea growing up things would turn out this way. I don't think anyone does. I can make all kinds of excuses for this, but in the end I knew it was wrong. I'm hoping after my death I'll be cremated and my ashes scattered into the wind and no marker to show I was ever here. I do not want anyone to grieve or feel sorry for me, and if anyone asks about me, say he died in prison. Always said he would come to a bad end. I don't have Linda's address or phone number. Last I knew, she was back in Billings, Montana. Tried to call her oldest daughter, Annie. No luck there either. So I suggest if family letter is to keep going, don't send to Linda unless sure of her address. Okay. Love, Gerald and Alice. So he thought Alice was arrested for Virginia's murder.
Yeah, he didn't even know.
Yeah. So when they sat him down, that's what he thought. So he thought it was over because he heard Virginia confess to murder. So he was like, well, I'm fucked. So he just sits down and gives it all up, gives it everything. They said, why'd you do it? He said, I'm tired of paying $150 a month in child support. Oh. He said, yep. He said, quote, I've thought about this. My youngest daughter confronted me about this today. She came right out and said, Dad, did you kill all those people? I looked at her and I said, yes, dear, I did. But I said, your mother had nothing to do with it, and I'm going to tell you that right now. So the cops are like, holy shit.
This is about that one, but all right.
We didn't even ask. So they were like, okay. So he said, Alice had nothing to do with it. I don't know why they even arrested her. I don't really understand that at all. I thought it was because they wanted me to come in, which all they had to do was ask. And they said, no, you're doing great. You drove all the way here. You're talking to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing great. So Gerald said, now that you guys are here, I've got to assume that you've either found some bodies or something else. I got to tell you, if you found bodies, it's a miracle, because I'm here to tell you right now. He sounds like a wrestler. I'm going to tell you right now, brother. That's why I'm here. I'm here to tell you right now. Your title is coming with me.
You're never going to find those bodies. I'll tell you right now.
Tell you right now, brother. There's a brother away from this being a wrestling promo. He says, because where I put those people would be just about as impossible for anyone to find as any place could possibly be. I'll say that up front right now. He said, as a matter of fact, if you took me out in that area, I could only point in a general direction and say they're out there because they're not buried on land. Mm-hmm. So then he said this, I told my daughter today I don't want and won't accept a lawyer. I'm going to plead guilty, and I'm going to tell the judge that for a long, long time I felt that this was more about money than anything else. The court system and lawyers have decided that Mr. Uden has got too much assets, and we want some of it.
What a selfish fuck, man.
You killed 2 children. What are you talking about? That's what they're doing? Hey, we want to get his trailer and his big rig. How can we do it? Well, we can accuse him of murder. Okay. Is that what you think happens?
Some of it's got 18 wheels. That's far too many for a casual citizen.
That's ridiculous. Far too casual citizen. He said, sorry, boys, you ain't going to get none. I'm going to plead guilty, and I want my life in prison or a death sentence. You must understand, I may be stupid, but I'm not crazy. Everyone wants to live, but nobody, including you boys, is going to live forever. I've made my peace with God, and if I'm sentenced to death, then I'm not afraid. People are going to say, you're crazy. I'm 71 years old. I've lived 10 years longer than my father. I've got no complaints. That's just the way it's going to be. And they said, great. Wow. They said, well, can you tell us how it happened? And he said, yes, sir, I can and I will. Yeah. So, that's wild. So then they were like, wow. He said, Virginia Uden. They gave her a name. They call her a predator. By that, I mean she went around to men and got them to do things. Then he told her how she had tricked him with an old gun and the whole relationship he accounts. He goes, one thing led to another, and I'm in bed with this gal, and not too long after that, I'm getting married. Talks about the whole thing, and he said, then she's calling me and getting under my skin, and Alice is there, and he said, I'm trying to juggle 2 women, and that ain't flying. So I finally just went off, and I said, I'm going to solve this problem, and I did. I'm a fan of mafia books, and one of the things is that you never let the victim know you're coming. True. So then they said, well, what were you doing outside of the laundromat with Claire that time? And he said, it's a hell of a thing to admit, but I probably would have killed Claire too.
Oh, dear Lord.
He said, but it just so happened that she had a friend named Marie, and Marie had a baby, and they were all there at the laundromat, and I just lost my stomach. I didn't have enough killing for one. I'd had enough killing for one goddamn week. Claire lucked out. They said that Claire ended up with a cut telephone line, and he said, that wasn't me. I had ideas of taking her out. At that point, I think I was a little crazy. Or he said, that was me. Uh-huh. So he cut her phone line. He was going to kill her that way, but he didn't. Then he said, but it stopped the child support, and that was going to come to about $16,000, so you could say that was a motive. That's what he said. So they said, you know the name Ron Holtz? And he said, no. He doesn't even know that guy's name. He never knew. He said, that name's not familiar. She said they had put him in a gold mine out there on that ranch, but I don't know about the name.
You should know his name because he's the one that just got you arrested.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. He said, I didn't get any pleasure out of doing it. None. He said, but it did stop the child support. So that's what he said.
Saved $16,000.
$16,000 over the course of 8 years. Who cares?
What a cheap fuck.
That's, for kids. Who gives a shit? So November 1st, 2013, Gerald pleads guilty to murdering Virginia, Richard, and Reagan. You, sir, may fuck off. 3 life sentences with no parole for old Richard there. So he's pretty.
4 weeks.
Yeah, he's in there. So 2014, Alice goes to trial. That sounds like a movie. Alice goes to trial. Testimony from her son tries to establish that Ronnie was laying in bed when he was shot in the back of the head, and the defense team said they were acting in self-defense. She is convicted of second-degree murder on Ronnie and nothing on Virginia, not even after the math. That's second-degree murder, not premeditated. She is sentenced to, you, ma'am, may fuck off, life in prison.
Oh.
Still got life, just no death penalty up there. June 12th, 2019, Alice dies in jail.
That was fast.
That was fast, yeah. On my birthday, too. Thanks, Alice. 2 days after Alice dies, Gerald writes a letter from his cell saying that, quote, Dear Ron, just a note. You will be pleased to know that the murderous Alice Uden has passed on to the next life. I was never allowed to see her, and in some ways it's just as well. It was kind of like a great weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I'm free now to seek total exoneration, which I intend to do, and I don't have to feel guilty about it. I don't know if the courts will hear my case since there was a plea agreement, but I do. If I don't, I will end up dying here. He ends up trying to
pin it all on her.
Yeah, he recants his confession and puts it all on Alice. He's like, well, she did it all. The court rejects his attempt to withdraw the guilty plea. Fuck off. He's still in jail in his 80s now. So
what an idiot.
The book is Alice and Gerald by Ron Francell, Franscell. It's a very good, very well-written true crime book. Good stuff there. Wild fucking case. There you go. So he's in jail. She's dead. That's some shit.
Wow. They got away with it for so long.
For 40, 30 years. Over 40 years. 40 years they got away from it. That's insane. Our whole lives they got away with that. They had murder on there.
Murderer since before I was born.
Yes,
and
both of us.
Barely went to jail for it.
That's fucking crazy. And he's spending these last few shit years anyway. Who cares? Right. Christ, now he'll get medical care that he would have cost him a fortune on the inside. Oh, if you're an old man, I mean, because it's that end-of-life shit.
Knockoff pills, though. He's going to die in there in the next 2 years.
So there you go, everybody. There's Wyoming. Wyoming people always, why aren't you doing Wyoming? Because you're crazy up there. That's why. That's a crazy fucking story. If you like that story, tell the world about it. Go to whatever app you're listening on and give a review if you can. You can counter some of the asshole people that get mad at us for making fun of a town or mispronouncing some fucking obscure place in Wisconsin. So they give us 1 star and yell at us. Help us out there. Do that.
Pronounce Automatoma.
Fuck, God, and literally 1 star. How dare they? What are you talking about? So do that. Help us out there. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets. Cleveland, February 10th. Get your asses in the fucking seats. We're there, baby. Not only that, extra shows in Seattle and Portland, and, of course, Detroit and Pittsburgh are lined up, too. Get your tickets now for all of those. We're very excited.
Cleveland,
all the other
February,
tickets.
The NFL won't even come there.
No, hell no, never. Never. So, do that. Head over to follow us on social media at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook. Also, patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get the bonus material. $5 or above. Anybody in that range is going to get all the bonus episodes. Huge back catalog, 2 new ones every week, Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder, and you get it all. This week for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about 10-cent beer night. Oh, boy. That sounds like a bad idea, right? Yeah. It is. By the end of it, shit's on fire, and players are punching fans. It's crazy.
Bars won't even do it.
No, it's insane. So check that out. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about small town scams. People thinking they're going to paradise, and instead they've been fooled by someone who has a big scam set up at a rocky shithole where nothing will grow. It's happened throughout the years forever, and it's really funny. So that's patreon.com/crime and sports, and you'll get a shout out. And when will that shout out come, Jimmy? Right fucking now. Jimmy, hit me with the names of the people who would never shoot us while we were sleeping and dump us down a mine shaft. Let's do it.
This week's executive producers are Clay Thorson, Jordan Bennett, Amy Dachy, I think. Dachy.
Some of our favorites in there.
Dan Furiel. Jesus, Dan.
Whoa.
What is that?
I don't think he got that right.
Shane, the Colts and Michigan fan, I believe. And Tina, oh boy, this is an Italian name, James, and it looks like... Holy shit. It looks like an Italian word for vagina. Cianci?
Bucchiac? What are we talking about? Well, that would be...
Cianci?
Cianci?
What is it?
Cianci?
That might be it.
Yeah, it's probably Cianci on that. Like
it looks like Italian.
Like the Providence guy, Buddy Cianci, like that it's spelled?
Cianci?
Yeah, Cianci. Yeah, that's what that is.
Looks like a dirty word.
It does.
Other producers are Arnold Ziffel, the president for Substitutes for Pork Foundation, the limo driver looking for the plate of the truck that hit Rocky, Thomas Smith taking care of his Nana, Peyton Meadows, Monty Montalegre, I believe, Lisa Savage, maybe Savage, maybe Savaggi. Andrew fucking Youngberg. Selah Smith, Reed McGuire, Janice Hill, Cody Leversy's new bride, Delaney. Happy birthday,
congrats,
Delaney.
Guys.
She turned 25. Holy shit.
Oh, look at you
I don't
guys.
know why I really like that kid. Cody's just been such a nice kid. Yeah.
He's been very nice to us. Yeah. Good listener.
He'll be in Detroit, I'm sure.
Top-notch listener.
Good dude. Brandy Huntley, Samantha, Jennifer Rudosky maybe, Justin Adkins, Cassidy with no last name, Sam Lyons, Jacqueline Duran, Justin Palmer, Mariah Foy, Dave with no last name, Cameron West, Jenny with no last name, Drew Bittner, David Caudell, Miranda DeGagny? What? Degania?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Sorry about it. Brooklyn Dashley, Jamie Ann, Bobby Lane, Sean Pegg, oh boy, Terry Clark, probably not the country singer, Emily Grape Juice. Yes, that's it. Oh boy, Scott, I've misspelled this. I used a character, not a letter.
That's not a name.
Scott is not greater than older. It's probably Mulder, probably.
Okay.
The less than, it's right there.
Yeah. I got you. Okay, yeah.
Luke Sanderson, Sarah Ollerenshaw. Good boy,
nice.
Oh boy. Leslie Harrington, Nicole Strickland, Devin Morgan, Emma Owens, Michelle Groves, Jonathan Olivo, Kent Hollingsworth, Catherine Bartlett, John Suluski.
Hey.
John Coburn, yep. Catherine Mayo, Tabitha Angleton, Sarah with no last name, J.W., Lisa Gibson, Melissa DeLapp, Ryan Yunt, Katie Calcagno.
Take another run at it, Jimmy.
Calcagno.
Stop, run back, really get a head start, and then head it over there.
Calcagno. That's not it. Corey with no last name, Don with no last name, Brooke Norgrove, Catherine with no last name, John Floyd, Nathan MC, Lena Morales, Donna Fairburn, Diana Robin Gonzalez, Brian Leach, Stephen Wilkie, Shannon Cooper, Marcy Trippy Wallen, maybe, I don't know, Christian Gavey, Aaron, oh boy, Ella Fritz, Eli Fritz, what is there a J in that? No, I don't know what that is. Kennedy Parker, Lisa Schultz, Lindsay Holcomb, Zach Cranendonk, boy oh boy, Brooke Burns, Ryan Douglas Mason, Andrew Sagata, Jacob Freiberger, Hunter Brown, Luke Sloan, Sequoia Salazar, Jeff Kemp, Rachel Elsie, Steve Younger, yeah, Michelle Autry, hey. Mike Rogers, Kirst Woolley, Adam Andy Raymond, Ian Foster, Stephanie Marquette, Chase, Chaz Williams, I don't know, Ben Glissman, Rory with no last name, Michelle Portson, Bailey Patton, Eileen Sullivan, Barbara Wilson, Jessica Page, Stimpy with no last name, Christopher Ascaraga. Ask who? Ascaraga.
Who are we asking? Haraga?
Christopher. Kimberly Gavin, Ashley Ferguson, Katie Robel. Yep, Evan.
So that car not starting. Shit.
Yeah, my engine just stopped.
Car noise is your last name.
Evan Kelly, Cody Young, Justin Atchison, Micah Haley, Hale, Adam Anderson, Audra Dre, Ben Danes, Donna Price, Beth Anna, Yadamek. Yadamek? Dale Fry, Manuel Castillo, Lauren Hughes, Briannon I get so serious. Rachel Hall, Eric Roberts, Alex Perry, Julia Hightower, David Brookshire, Connor with no last name, Heather King, Christopher Hughes, Larissa Crawley, Amy Hostetler, Mark Olson, Joey MF Lepley, Amy Graham, Marie Scara. Scaramuzzo. His last name is crazy.
Excellent.
Julie Nellis, Riley Smokamy Wood, Leslie Abraham, Demon Pop-Tart, Daniel Singer, Jennifer Richards, Kevin with no last name, Jason McKemmy, Amanda Dixon, okay, what? That can't be right. Andy Dunlap, Amanda Dixon.
All of that for Andy Dunlap? How'd you get that?
Amanda Dixon. Somebody's fucking with me, right?
Amanda,
Andy Dunlap,
yeah.
Jimmy Shields, Andrew Scanlon, Samantha with no last name, Nordy with no last name, Sydney with no last name, Lydia Walker, Cecilia Toomey, Devin Hauser, Lydia Sauer Walker, Tay ZME Zemi, Tase. Oh, tase me, James. You get it?
Oh, you tase me.
I see it. You son of a bitch.
Me.
Cindy with no last name. Addison Duncan, Renita Kruger from Boca Raton. Boca Raton. Graham Kelly.
Enjoy your iguanas
Erica.
down there in Boca Raton.
What is it?
Enjoy your iguanas down there in Boca.
Grab yourself a yard iguana.
Eat it like a candy bar.
Erica Tarigni. Okay. Marcia Dumpet.
I just pictured Snickers commercials, but with iguanas.
You're so crazy when you're hungry. Just eat one.
Just eat an iguana. Just bite its head off. Whew, I feel better now as you're holding a headless iguana. Chewing it.
Into an iguana.
Yeah.
Like a Slim Jim.
Charles
Chase, Justin with no last name, Mia Jackson, Ashley Percival, Martin Farrand, Autumn Griffin, Emily Hurst, David Matthews, Bolins, what? Jake Ole, Chris Funk, and all of our patrons. You guys are fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, so much for all that you do for us. Thank you for everything. We appreciate it. We'll keep putting out the stuff, and we'll keep giving the stuff if you keep snorting it. You know what I mean?
You take the stuff, we'll give the stuff.
That's right. We'll give it. So there you go. You want to follow us on social media? ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com has all the links right there to everything you could want from us and for us.
You bet.
That said, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.